NC. Dives. That's an NC State touchdown. With the Wolfpack. State leads. Yes, all night long. Dives for the end zone. Touchdown. He takes the hit. Intercepted. A pick six. DK Kaufman. Bailey dives to the end zone. Touchdown. They're going to fight all the way to the end.
Welcome to the CW Pre-Kick Show, brought to you by Dick's, who believes sports has the power to change lives. And with that, we welcome you inside our CW studios. Mike Yam and Ron Pitts with you. Here we go. Week 5, NIU. Giant killers to a certain degree. Remember that win against Notre Dame just a couple of weeks ago?
That's right.
NC State. Jury, in my mind, still out on both of these squads.
Yeah, a lot of expectations for NC State coming into the season. They expected them to be on top of the ACC. They've stumbled a little bit, got beat up last week there by Clemson, but they've made a change at quarterback. They've gone from Grayson McCall to C.J. Bailey, and I think in the end of the year, you're going to like this C.J. Bailey kid. He's impressive. Didn't show it a lot last week, you know, because of the score, but he does some nice things.
Yeah, more on Bailey coming up in just a moment here, but one of those major targets as we get the game preview, and it is brought to you by Dick's. Casey Concepcion, what do you like about his game?
He's your classic slot inside receiver of today's football world. You know, he's Tyreek Hill, Rashid Shaheed, Nicole Hardman.
Let's go.
You can put him anywhere. You know, you can put him outside. He'll come across the middle there, run the little jet sweep. He'll go make the tough catch like that one right there. He'll block for you. He's that Swiss Army knife type of guy. He reminds me a little bit also, we're talking about college nowadays, Restrepo down in Miami. Yeah. Restrepo is all over the field, will make the big plays, and he's been very helpful for him.
Yeah, Miami, by the way, escaping one yesterday in a big way. And I know it's something, it's one of those storylines that we will continue to track here on the CW with some ACC action. But speaking of the ACC, the Wolfpack fans ready to go. They're 30-2 in non-con action under Dave Doran is number 31 today. Tom Brenneman, Max Brown, and Carla Gebhardt. They have a little one on the quarterback, C.J. Bailey, coming up next.
Welcome you back to the Pre-Kick Show, brought to you by Dick's. Beautiful, beautiful early Saturday afternoon. We welcome you to Carter-Finley Stadium in Raleigh, North Carolina, Northern Illinois, out of the Mid-American Conference, coming to town to take on the 2-2 NC State Wolfpack. And hi again, everybody, alongside Max Brown and Carla Gebhardt. I'm Tom Brenneman. Before we talk about football, just want to let you know, from all of us here at the CW Network, our thoughts and prayers are with each and every one of you in that path of Hurricane Helene. We're thinking about you and pray that all is well. You talk about football, all has been well when the CW, for whatever reason, has shown up here in Raleigh. They were on 4 times our first year having this package last year. Didn't lose a game. They need one today.
They're happy to see us, but only 2-2 so far this season. Losing to Tennessee and Clemson. Those are good football teams, though. Got to get back on track today, and they're going to turn to their true freshman quarterback. NC State is C.J. Bailey. No Grayson McCall again today, the star quarterback. He was one of the biggest hits in the transfer portal throughout the country. But with C.J. Bailey, he's a true freshman, but Tom, it doesn't seem like it. They're not protecting him with play calls. This is a confident and comfortable kid.
You shift over to NIU, and remember, 2 weeks ago, they pulled off what has been so far anyway, the single biggest upset in college football this season when they rolled into South Bend and knocked off number 5 Notre Dame. And then you go figure, they stubbed their toe last week against Buffalo.
And the most impressive thing to me was how they did it. They didn't get out physical. It was the run game and a defense. The NIU team, in general, very experienced bunch, 6th most seniors in FBS. This is not a team that's coming on the road scared today.
No, they are not. This is a good football team. So the fans are ready on this Parents' Weekend. It's also National Beer Drinking Day. Parents and kids having a cold beer. Thanks for watching the Pre-Kick Show, brought to you by Dick's. Welcome back to CW CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. A Sunsplash Saturday in Raleigh, North Carolina. Third member of our broadcast team this weekend. Delighted to have Carla Gebhardt with Coach Doran.
Coach, some are calling this a prove-it game, a chance to get back on track. What do you need to see from your squad today?
We got to win the turnover margin, be really, really physical, playing the sport the way that it's meant to be played. It's going to be a smash-mouth football game. We got to play for our pride right now. I mean, that's what this is about.
What was your final message to the team to ensure that translates today?
Put it on film. Film is your resume. It's a historical record of your effort. We need to do a great job of that today.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck.
All right, go back.
On the other sideline, Thomas Hammock in his 6th season was a 2-time All-MAC running back at NIU. In fact, he's in the school's Hall of Fame. Inducted back in 2022, won a MAC title himself as head coach in 2021. And, of course, Coach Doran knows all about coaching at Northern Illinois. We'll talk more about that later, but 2 incredible years before coming here to NC State in 2013.
It's got to be a full circle moment for Coach Doran and for both these programs. It's kind of a get back to what we do type of game. Pride, culture was a word we heard for both these teams, obviously both of which coming off losses into this game.
NC State won the toss, elected to defer, so right from the get-go, we'll get a look at the Huskies offense, and that one sails through the back of the end zone out to the 25. They come, led by redshirt junior Ethan Hampton. Look at this. There's Ripken.
Oh, there we go. It's a good get-off right there. That's that energy that NC State team needs.
Ripken, of course, handles all the duties at the Durham Bulls, their minor league team here, named after the great Cal Ripken. Ethan Hampton is a redshirt junior, 6'5", 215-pounder, local kid out of Elburn, Illinois, won the job during fall camp. And very good numbers. 5 of those touchdowns came in the season opener against Western Carolina, and he played very well against Notre Dame. Did not turn the ball over. And we're going to be calling this name a whole lot today. That's Antonio Brown, but he is hammered all the way back to the 20-yard line. That'll be a loss of 5 on first down. And a good start is something this defense for NC State really needs, especially after last week against Clemson.
And it's a defensive line under Dave Doran that's prided themselves on stopping the run. So far this year, hasn't really been the case. They gave up a bunch of rushing yards last week versus Clemson. Strong start right there by one of their best defensive players in Davin Vann.
The veteran offensive line. In fact, this group has not given up a single sack in their last 6 games. Good protection here. Brown, he'll catch it out of the backfield. He had an 83-yard touchdown reception in the win over Notre Dame. And he's out to the 34. Well, let's see where they spot it. Closer to the 32, I beg your pardon. That'll be a gain of 11, so it brings up a 3rd down.
And we're seeing 2 things right away that NIU wants to do. They want to get their quarterback, Ethan Hampton, in rhythm, find easy completions for him. And his running back, Antonio Brown, is a dynamic weapon outside for him. We saw the first play, a handoff. They'll find different ways throughout this game to get the rock in his hands.
Gavin Williams has checked into the backfield. That's their best receiver, the tight end Barnes, in motion. And underneath, and that is good enough for a 1st down. The catch made by Trayvon Rudolph. They'll use him a little bit of everywhere. They'll use him in the pass game. They'll use him in the run game. And our ump cam right from the get-go.
Best view in the house, baby, right there in the middle. Good little quick hitter. Get the ball to Ethan Hampton's hands quickly. Trayvon Rudolph, most improved offensive player, was awarded that for this NIU team after spring, really coming along for this offensive attack.
Northern Illinois, one of the few teams you'll see that will run it basically as much as they throw it. Hampton is wrapped up and dropped. That'll be a 2-yard loss. Caden Fordham with a stop.
He's that leader of this defense, that Mike linebacker position. Great job by Fordham. Recognize and run. Oh, it's a play action. Run with the quarterback, making tackles in space. So important in college football. That's what offensive coordinators want to do, give you a one-on-one matchup in space. I don't care if it's a quarterback. Coming down with that tackle's big.
That's what we're talking about. I mean, 54% passing yards, 46% rushing yards. They feel very comfortable playing either game. And Brown is some kind of player in that backfield. They give it to Williams, and he is wrapped up 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That running game off to a slow start so far. Devon Betty with a stop.
You can see Isaiah Shirley, great job right there. He's lined up in the B gap, but then slants inside of the A gap, throws off the movement of this Northern Illinois offensive line, which is an experienced bunch. Coming into this game, it's an offensive line for the Huskies that has 129 starts combined. This is a veteran group that's used to a lot of success.
Well, Shirley played very, very well. And NC State was pretty unhappy about the way the defense played and competed a week ago. Blitz coming. And it's nearly intercepted. My goodness. D.K. Kaufman had it and then dropped it. So the Huskies will be forced to punt it away.
This one got away from Hampton. You sail it over your receiver in the slot, and D.K. Kaufman, the transfer from Auburn. He's going to want that one back. Bringing pressure right in the face of Ethan Hampton. NIU picks it up, has some time, but he goes right in the slot to a double-covered receiver. Had one-on-one on the outside. Those are the type of decisions you can't make on the road versus a Power 14.
AC Concepcion waits back on the punt, a short one. Basically, this checks up, and it'll be down to the 36-yard line. So an early stop for the Wolfpack D. C.J. Bailey and company take the field when we come back. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. Back in 2011-2012, Coach Doran led NIU to a pair of MAC titles. A 23-4 record. We had a very open and honest conversation with him. He said his biggest regret in his career professionally was leaving before that Orange Bowl game. He actually sat in the stands and had to watch the team that he had coached for 2 years.
Very transparent, said in hindsight he would have coached that game and passed up on the NC State job, at least that year.
Concepcion is dropped for a loss. They hand it to him on first down. But that's the one part. A lot of people all over get upset with coaches for leaving when they leave. But that's the way the game is played.
And it's only gotten worse since that 2012, 2013 timeline with the early recruiting period. Now the December 19th, 21st time frame before Christmas. That means coaches need to start making decisions around Thanksgiving and whatnot. And if you're a team like NIU that was on a special run right there, it's a tough spot to be in if you're a coach.
Loss of 4 on first down. They're going to hand it off, and not much running room there. Maybe got the 4+1 back on the handoff to Jordan Waters. C.J. Bailey is a true freshman. Grew up in Miami, Florida. Attended Chaminade Madonna High School. He replaced Grayson McCall in the first half of the Louisiana Tech game. He had some early jitters, but the bottom line is, in the second half, he led them in a come-from-behind win on 3 scoring drives and made his last start last week, his very first of his college career in Clemson, and hung in there pretty well. 3rd down and 10. Steps into the throw. A catch is made. I don't know. It depends on the spot here. They needed to get to the 46, and he looks like he might be a half a yard short. Do you think about going for it this early in the game?
I think so. In the middle of the field and receiver-wise, you got to make sure you get the sticks. If you're Joe Lee, you're calling that play. That is a 3rd down call right there. You got to make sure when you're cutting back to the football that you're picking that up. But this early on in the game, looks like Dave Doran's going to elect to punt.
And you heard all the boos from the crowd. You know, it's not been a pretty start for the Wolfpack. They had to come from behind to beat Western Carolina. They get blown out of the gym by Tennessee. They have to come from behind to beat Louisiana Tech. And it's a fake. And it appears as though they may have picked up the first down. So how about that? Those boos turn to cheers. It is a first down for the NC State Wolfpack. Kendrick Raphael, I believe, took the snap.
Yeah, Tom, as we were talking, as we go to the cam, how quickly Dave Doran made that decision. You were kind of thinking, is a fake there? Maybe trying to draw him off sides. something up their sleeve, especially early on in this game where, hey, for this NC State team, they've started slow all season long. Getting off to a hot start or a quick start in this first quarter is paramount.
Well, they barely got it, too, maybe by a yard, if not less. First down throw, rolling, and Bailey can run. He tucks it and fumbles the football, and it's recovered by NC State. It looked like Justin Jolie was the one who covered it up.
Had some ball security issues last week versus Clemson a little bit. You love it, the fact that he can use his legs and can get out on the perimeter, but as a true freshman, got to tuck that away. And that's always the challenge when you have a true freshman quarterback, is when you're calling plays, you want to give him answers to the test. You don't want to just, hey, have him be on training wheels the whole game. Giving him answers, allowing him to use his athleticism is key, as we're seeing the slow starts for NC State so far this season.
Well, you're not lying, although that'll be enough for a first down as the reception is made inside the 40-yard line, and that is Jolie. He is their second leading receiver on the season at 3 catches for 72 yards against Clemson.
Yeah, we went to practice yesterday, and I was very impressed. Usually when a true freshman's playing at any position, but especially quarterback, when you're in walkthrough mode, there's either a veteran player tracking him the whole time or a coach tracking him the whole time. That was not the case with C.J. Bailey. They have confidence in him. He's been here since spring. By no means does he give any anxious energy that he's not ready for this moment.
With the handoff, and Bailey throws. Catch again is made inside the 20, inside the 10. And stretching for the end zone, and they're saying he's out of bounds at the 2-yard line. That's the former Ohio State Buckeye Noah Rogers, who grew up in the area and has made a return home since leaving Ohio State.
Little play action fake. You get Bailey on the move. It's his second progression, working left to right. Let's check these feet. Right as he gets close to the goal line, so far so good, and then that right foot's out. He'll be short of the goal line here as they marked him down, but no Rogers. He's a playmaker, and you said it, transfer from Ohio State, coming back home, local kid, dynamic weapon for this offense.
It's interesting. They're doing a lot of that. Bailey on the keeper, and he tries to spin his way inside the end zone. Penalty flag comes in late behind the line of scrimmage. You know, Rogers was a #1 high school player in the state of North Carolina 3 years ago. He was a top 10 receiver in the country. And a lot of top guys go play receiver at Ohio State, as we know. But he wasn't getting any playing time, and he came back home.
Illegal block below the waist. Defense, number 9. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Nate Barcarsel, that's a big penalty.
And it's a unique one. That might be the first time I've seen that penalty so far this year. It's going to be on the left side of the screen. Let's see him engage. Yeah, you can't just chop down at the legs there. Going to see him just chop down. He's trying to cut and allow his buddy to make a tackle behind him. But if you're outside the tackle box and enter inside the tackle box, you can't just go straight at the kneecap. You got to at least engage like you're trying to make a football play.
8th play of this drive. First possession of the game for NC State, trying to cash in with a touchdown. The quarterback will get to the end zone. And C.J. Bailey gets a Wolfpack on the board.
Using his legs there. It's an added weapon that he has. You get close to the line of scrimmage, can take advantage. That was the message as this NC State offensive line they're shuffling guys around a little bit, trying to figure out, hey, who's that best 5? Can they come together? Can they be tough? That drive right there is certainly what their head coach Dave Doran wanted to see.
Kanoa Vine set for the point after. NC State has not missed a point after touchdown in forever and a day. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick. So a little different story this week than last week. The Wolfpack on the board. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon.
Welcome back to Carter-Finley Stadium, and the sky is never falling. The sun is always shining. That is how the Wolfpack coaching staff described their true freshman quarterback in C.J. Bailey. They said he has an infectious energy. We certainly saw that poise last week against Clemson, despite the results in that one. They said he also just doesn't flinch. Pretty good ringing endorsement for a freshman quarterback, guys.
Well, you're not kidding, Carla. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they went in the portal. Got Grayson McCall. That was one of the biggest portal acquisitions, regardless of position, regardless of school. You could tell they had a void there, but to then have a true freshman, and you never know how fast true freshman quarterbacks are going to come along. Good thing he graduated early, C.J. Bailey, that is, and this offense is fully functional with him behind center.
Once more out to the 25-yard line. Second possession for Ethan Hampton and company. This has been a very solid. Well, we can never, ever, ever, ever not take that shot.
Very true.
You can't do it.
That's hitting home for a different portion of our viewers. The people that are not participating in the beer day, the America Beer Day, maybe there's correlation to the dog fans and the beer fans, but you know, you got something for everything, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I did not know today was National Beer Day. But, I mean, what better combination could there be? Parents' Weekend and National Beer Drinking Day here at NC State. First big hole of the game, and that is Brown. He's out across the 35 and a first down, a carry of 12. This guy is a player. In fact, there's a real good chance you might watch him on Sundays next year.
Yeah, I asked his head coach, Thomas Hammock, I was like, Coach, no offense, but how did you keep a guy like this? He's been doing this at a high level at the MAC for a very long time. And in today's day and age with college football, if you look around the landscape, those guys usually get poached and go to bigger schools. But Brown is the guy in this offense, and he knows that he'd rather be the guy rather than just another weapon at a bigger school.
They get to him this time, and they throw wide open down the middle of the field. Thrown behind him a little bit, but a nice catch made by Brock Lampe, senior tight end out of Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Strong strike by Hampton, too, which I like, right? The third down in the previous possession, it was double coverage, almost interception. To be able to respond the very next possession and have no hesitation and rip it down the field, it's a good sign if you're NIU.
Lampe will play tight end. He'll play fullback. We talked about this offensive line. It certainly bears repeating. This group has not allowed a single sack so far this year, and that includes a game against Notre Dame. Good pursuit defensively that time. And the guy who blew the whole thing up initially was K.J. Martin.
You can see right away this NC State front seven is getting pushed. Martin coming down into the box, and if you're trying to compare, hey, how does this game feel from a starting standpoint to the Notre Dame game? Northern Illinois controlled the line of scrimmage versus the Notre Dame game. Versus NC State today, so far this defensive line is balling out.
Already 3 tackles for a loss, all on run plays so far by this Wolfpack defense. Into the hands of Brown, and he breaks it to the outside. He's inside the 30, the 20. The 15, and chucked down at the 12-yard line for Antario Brown. Over 3,000 all-purpose yards from this young man in his career.
Look at the vision here, too. It works the front side A-gap and then jump cuts all the way back towards the other side of the field. And there's no one on NC State's defense to set the edge. He out-leverages Aiden White, NC State's corner, and this is an NIU offense that has a wide variety of run schemes. You don't always talk about that in football, but in today's college football, most offenses are very vanilla with their run game. You only bring a few schemes to the park. NIU's got a lot they can get to run game-wise.
Right back in the hands of Brown, and he slithers his way inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. They can get a first down just outside the 1.
Yeah, it's worth talking about. Head coach Thomas Hammock, during his time at Wisconsin, as we're seeing Brown stats right there, but during his time at Wisconsin, that was more the Russell Wilson era. A lot of personnel groups, big-time running backs. His offensive coordinator, Wesley Boschner, he spent time with, James Conner at Pitt, and different schemes they can get to, trying to really wrap in all these different run schemes they have.
Play fake it, and wide open. Down at the 5, and a good tackle made in the open field right there by Brandon Cisse on Applegate. And he has not gotten up. Gain of 5.
Little play action fake, and that's just the dirty work if you're a tight end. It's a clean hit. It's a good job by Cisse on the outside, but it's a tough part if you're Applegate.
Well, while they're taking a look at Applegate, let's check in back at our studios. Mike.
Trying to bounce back off that loss against Stanford. Kyle McCord helping out the cause. Darrell Gill with the touchdown. Syracuse on top 14-0 as we head back to Tom, Max, and Carla.
All righty, sir. Thank you very much. I tell you, the Kentucky-Ole Miss game is a game that I'm interested in keeping an eye on. Remember, Kentucky got blown out of the gym by South Carolina. They come back a week later and they lose by a point to Georgia. Right? And now all of a sudden, Ole Miss, we saw them 2 weeks ago. They're scoring 60 a game. And almost at the end of the first quarter, it's a 7-3 game.
It's the first challenge for Ole Miss this season. We had Ole Miss versus Wake, and they blew them out. It's been a very weak schedule up into this point, but now as Ole Miss gets into conference play, we're going to find out if Ole Miss is national title type of contending team or if they got more questions to answer.
You know, it's interesting. Kentucky has won the 3rd most games among all SEC teams over the last 8 years, behind, of course, only Alabama and Georgia.
And a little wildcat here.
Yep, Brown standing back at the 8, looking for running room, fumbles the ball, and it's recovered in the end zone. It looks like Northern Illinois, which will be a touchdown.
What a play. You had Brown working that 8 gap right behind his fullback, Lampy. Good thing you have a fullback right there. It's very rare to have fullbacks in the offense today. Man, are they glad they have one right there who's athletic enough to be looking for the football. And it's interesting, Gavin Williams, their backup running back, their second punch is usually the Wildcat quarterback. Going with Brown there, obviously dynamic weapon. Seen a couple of those fumbles, but Lampy, huge heads-up play for this NIU offense.
NIU has made 263 consecutive. If that one stands, there's a penalty flag down. But Huskies kickers have not missed a point after in 8 years.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, play the try.
Well, they're going to make it a little bit tougher now.
Love the response from this NIU offense, too. On the road, playing a Power 4 team. Run got stuffed there on their first few tries. You respond, you have that chunk run, and you're getting your weapons going. Finding ways to get Brown going is key.
Point after is good by Whittle. And so a 7-7 game. We figured to have a game here today. And game on to the opening quarter. Coming up next, right after this one, the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs begin in Kansas. Top 12 drivers start their race towards winning a championship. That's coming up next only on the CW in the standings. Going into the race today. And I know many in these parts will be dialed into that. It's another big sports weekend here on the CW. Glad you're able to join us today. 7-7 game. Wolfpack to get the football after scoring on their first possession. And here's D.K. Kaufman. And he's out to the 35-yard line. That's Noah Rogers on the return, I beg your pardon. They have double numbers in the college game. So Rogers returning kick. He wears the same number as Kaufman.
Advantageous field position for a young quarterback. Thought he had a strong first drive right there, and if you're NC State, got to keep that momentum going. The ability to both run the ball and then the play action off of that really allows your quarterback to settle in.
Very impressive numbers on that opening drive by Bailey. Can't do any better than that. And, of course, he ran it in to cap it off for a 1-yard touchdown. Not much running room. A gain of 2, maybe 3 to Kendrick Raphael. He led the team in rushing against Louisiana Tech and then followed that up with a career-high 91 yards rushing against Clemson. Also had a touchdown last week.
It's Damon Taylor on the stop right there for NIU. This is an NIU defensive line that they really like. They can get to 3 different defensive tackles. That's always the concern when you're playing up a level, is how do you hold up front, both offensive and defensive line-wise. No concern going into this game for NIU.
Called a 2-yard gain, so it's 2nd down and 8. That's Raphael out of the backfield, his 3rd reception of the year.
That's a great play right there by Jaden Dolphin, too. Former walk-on, played safety, now moving inside of the box at that linebacker spot. With that mentality at the linebacker spot, you have a receiver trying to block you. He pushes him right into his own buddy. It's a big-time tackle right there. This Northern Illinois defense, we've talked about some of the stats. It's a group that shows out.
Yeah, they have been really, really good so far this year. In fact, you look at some of the numbers in their loss to Buffalo, you can't believe they lost the game just based on stats. Bailey going to run it. He needs to get to the 47-yard line, and he got it. That'll be a 1st down. There is a penalty flag, however, in the backfield. This one might come back.
Holding. Offense. Number 76. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
You're going to get 76. I think it might be Miss ID. I believe it's 75. Anthony Carter Jr., the guard that is, just tugging the jersey. NIU's rusher Devontae O'Malley, I believe it was in there. O'Malley's got 16 career sacks. For a defensive tackle, he can show up on film in the pass rush game. And those penalties hurt NC State a week ago. Timely penalties, costly penalties, and got you behind the sticks.
Yeah, there have been a lot of changes on this offensive line because of an ejection a week ago to their longtime starting tackle, Anthony Belton. That's incomplete, and that'll bring up 4th down. Belton was spit on, he claims, by a Clemson player. He did the same thing back to a Clemson player. Coach Doran said, look, this is a great kid. He made a mistake, but you make a mistake, you have to have consequences. So he's not starting the game today, although he will play a lot today.
And he was in there, that drive right there. So out the first possession speaks to the confidence and the need they have for him. Carter got called for that holding, but Anthony Belton was back at his left tackle spot where he started all last season as well.
Cam Thompson waiting on the punt from Noonkester. He's going to bounce and continues to roll inside the 15-yard line and down at the 12. 16 ticks remain in this opening quarter. After an early stop for NC State defensively, the Wolfpack drove down the field, scored a touchdown on the 1-yard run by Bailey, but then answering right back, the Huskies. You know, it really is amazing when you look at those stats from last week. They lose 23-20. Northern Illinois held Buffalo to 184 yards. They had a 14-3 lead, but they missed a couple of field goals in the second half, a couple of big plays along with a turnover, and it got away from them fresh off the heels of stunning Notre Dame in South Bend. Here's Brown. That hole is plugged immediately. That's Cisse again on what will be the final play of this opening quarter. Watching CW Sports Saturday. We're in Raleigh. 7-7 game after the opening period. All right, Max Brown, our first quarter numbers brought to you by Morgan Stanley, where old school hard work meets bold new thinking. Third down, it's been a big factor early on.
Exactly. That's the stat you need to track all day today, because when you look at NIU's win versus Notre Dame, they dominated on third down so far today. NC State 0 for 2. NIU able to stay on the field. This is an NIU team that wants this to be a fourth quarter game. Keep it within one possession. Make it a little bit of a grimy game. Control the clock. A little bit more of an old school approach.
Brown had the long run, a 34-yarder on the scoring drive. Outside of that, he's been pretty quiet, but a solid gain there on first down, close to 5.
Running behind that offensive line. It was funny, Tom, looking at the depth chart of this offensive line. All from the great state of Wisconsin,
yes,
which I found interesting, and I asked Coach about his recruiting philosophy, and he's basically like, when in Wisconsin you get a lot of multi-sport athletes, and when you have bigger guys that are maybe developed later, they can be more athletic, and it's really been a recipe for success for Thomas Hammock's squad. If you don't go to Wisconsin, if you don't go to Iowa, you can come block for a guy like Ontario Brown and put up a bunch of big numbers.
Blitz coming. Hit as he throws. The ball is loose. That is a live ball, and it is a touchdown, and it stands for Corey Coley. But we have to see. And it is ruled a touchdown.
They dialed up a cornerback blitz, or in this case, safety blitz. DK Kaufman coming down, goes unblocked. You're going to see right here in the cornerback spot, he really is a safety on the depth chart, though, because they want him pinning his ears back. Quarterback doesn't recognize it. You always got to be wary when a safety is rolling over the top. You always run the risk of a cornerback blitz. DK Kaufman, he showed up early with an interception almost right there with a sack, scoop, and score.
That is the first sack allowed by this Northern Illinois offensive line this season. And boy, that's making the most of it. Strip sack, touchdown, 14-7 Pack.
Credit the defense team, too. Like I said, Kaufman is a safety body. Usually plays that free safety position. You line him up back corner, alert, you might be coming. Offensive line doesn't pick it up, and quarterback got to get that rock out of your hands. But what a play early, sparking not only this defense, but this entire team.
.164 pass attempts without giving one up. And this one leads to a touchdown.
And that one's not on the offensive line. When they go back to meeting rooms, that's on the quarterback. You got to find a way to get the ball to your hands. Recognize that that blitz is potentially an option. Always got to be wary of your backside, or get help from your running back to pick up the blitz.
NC State, its second lead of the game, jumped out 7-0. The Huskies tied it up, and now the strip sack recovered for a touchdown by Coley and out to the 25. Hampton right back out there. You know, as we've talked about, all over the Southeast, the destruction from Hurricane Helene, officials everywhere assessing the damage, flooding, winds. In the meantime, you can help, and let's help each other. That's what it's all about, by making a donation to the American Red Cross and the incredible work they do at redcross.org. We got to go back a long way. 2003. That's hard to believe. The last time a fumble was returned for a touchdown.
Mario Williams territory.
Well, that had some hair on it, and right through the hands of the intended receiver, Keyshawn Pipkin. He does not have a catch this year. That looked like a ball that should have been caught.
Little curl route, windows wide open. I like the call. Anytime the quarterback gets hit or maybe makes a mistake, go right back to a passing option to allow him to settle in. I think Ethan Hampton's glad that Mario Williams is not playing for NC State's defense today, or else the sack we just saw would probably be happening a little bit more today.
Second down and 10. They'll put it in the hands of Brown. When he's wrapped up, spun down short of the 30. Bring up a third down and a long 5, maybe 6. NC State defense trying to pick it up, Carla.
Yeah, absolutely. They know that defense has really been their calling card the past couple of seasons. That's not been the case through the first 4 games. So what do? Well, defensive coordinator Todd Gibson called a meeting this week with all the defensive players, all of the coaches. He said usually we watch 2 to 3 plays. He said no, everybody was there. Everybody was held accountable. You know they love to see that scoop and score.
No doubt about that. I mean, it was a humiliating day for that defensive group. This man, Tony Gibson, can get after it.
I'm sure that meeting wasn't fun to be a defensive player.
Quarterback in trouble, and he is dropped. It's not a sack. He picked up yardage, but he's short of a first down up to the 28. So another punt for Northern Illinois. That defense, by and large, responding here today.
Without a doubt. We saw NIU respond after their first drive, in which they had that 3 and out. Right now, not able to respond if you're NIU, and credit this NC State defense getting into a rhythm so far today.
Jalen Coit standing back at his own 25. He'll signal a fair catch and make it at the 28-yard line, a 40-yard punt. Coit looking for a penalty flag. 14-7, NC State in front. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. NC State has been mighty good here at Carter-Finley Stadium. Today, their 16th consecutive sellout. That's the longest in school history. They've won 25 of their last 29 games here.
Cool stadium, too. We were talking about it off air. You know, comes down into the ground. A lot of these stadiums where you can fill it out always feel special.
Yeah, it's really, really nice, and you couldn't ask for a better weather day. Flag down, Waters breaking a couple of tackles, but again, behind the line of scrimmage in the area generally where you see offensive holding, but we'll see.
Holding. Offense. Number 82. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's Keenan Jackson, a backup freshman wide receiver.
Yeah, he's coming in motion right there, sliding across the screen. Just gets the outside shoulder pads of Jacob Finley, the corner for NIU. It's always tough when your running back starts down the right side and then jump cuts back to the left. Always got to keep your hands inside if you're a receiver or an offensive lineman to avoid that holding call.
We talked about what a big deal these penalties have been for NC State the early part of this season. I mean, they've had a number of big runs called back. In fact, Jordan Waters has had 3 carries of 20 or more rushing yards called back. Bailey avoids a defender, looking down. He'll just tuck it underneath, and he's run out of bounds. Looking for a flag there. It does come in. Wow. A little surprised. It didn't look too bad from up here.
Yeah, I got Jelani Williams right there, who's had his hands up for a full 5 count.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 11, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That little shove at the end. He engages with him in the field of play. It's right. Oh, man, there's not a lot there. There's not a lot there. The quarterback's momentum is going to the ground. The ref saw that as I'm throwing you to the ground, but I think that's more of just momentum. I think Jelani Williams has every reason to be frustrated there. Especially off the fact of, Tom, you just said it, you were ahead of the sticks if you were NIU's defense because of the holding play right there. Now you just give it right back to him.
Yep, automatic first down after the penalty. It's up to the 36-yard line. And the carry is up to the 40. That'll be a gain of 4 for Raphael, who's getting a few more carries early in this game. After the last couple of games, we talked about how well he played.
Tackle there by Roy Williams, and I think this is a big game for the backside defensive ends for Northern Illinois, because NC State runs a lot of outside zone schemes that naturally the ball cuts back against the grain, and if you're that backside defensive end holding down your spot, you have to be disciplined and tackle in space, which is what Williams did there.
Give it to Raphael again, and another penalty flag comes in. And you got to believe this is probably another hold.
Holding. Offense. Number 65. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Jacarius Peak, the right tackle, who's had to move around on the line.
Yeah, they're going to get Zeke, Carell, and Peak right there. Center and left guard, center and right guard working to your right. Credit the defensive line for NIU. They're saying all week was disruption is production. Well, disruption is leading to holding penalties so far today.
You know, you look at this defense and what it did against Notre Dame. Only allowed 123 rushing yards, 163 passing yards, and the Irish were just 3 of 10 on third down in that game. So they dominated Notre Dame. And a wide open receiver, Concepcion, out at midfield, and Bailey missed him. I mean, this was a legendary win in the program, not only for NIU, but for the MAC.
It's the win of the college football season so far.
First time a MAC school has beat a top 5 team. And the first time they've beaten a top 25 team in the last 11 years.
And I said this in the open, but the most impressive thing was how they did it. It wasn't trick plays and you're getting turnovers and, you know, advantageous gimmicky plays. They just out-physical Notre Dame, which is very rare for any team to say.
That is an excellent defensive play made out there in space by Jay-Sean Prophet, senior out of Pompano Beach, Florida. Second-year starter and an all-MAC performer. So NC State forced to punt it away, and again, penalties. You brought it up. You know, behind the chains. They got one penalty in their favor, but then committed another, the third holding call against NC State already today.
And it's important to note, too, for NIU, you're talking about a team that is very veteran-led. You have a lot of seniors that are coming back on this team, 6 most seniors in FBS. That speaks to their ability to respond and not be scared when they're coming into an environment like this.
Noon Kester puts a foot on it, and it's a good punt. Fair catch made by Thompson just outside the 10-yard line.
Again with the CW Studio Update. Western Kentucky and Boston College, who just took out Michigan State. Don't look now, though. Western Kentucky up 14-0. Hayden Velkamp to Easton Messer with the touchdown. Back to Tom and Carla and the TikTok guy, as the NC State players affectionately call him.
That's exactly right.
Walking through the lobby yesterday, one of the players goes, "Hey, I've seen you on TikTok." And I don't know if I gained or lost respect to the coach that heard that, but either way, here we are.
Oh, I think you gained a lot of respect. There's no doubt about it. Take it. You and your bride on there.
Here we go.
Running room by Brown. He's up to the 15-yard line on a first down carry. You know, remember, Boston College, Thomas Castellanos, their outstanding quarterback, is injured today. Yep. So he's not playing. And BC has been off to a really impressive start.
Shows the importance of having that second quarterback. Most teams, to get through a full year unscathed is rare. We're seeing it right here with NC State having to go to C.J. Bailey in this game. Being able to fully function with your offense is a luxury to have. Not every team can say that.
And with a gain of 3, they'll give it to him again. And what a nice tackle. We've seen a couple of those from each team today. Out in the open field. That one by Bishop Fitzgerald.
We've been calling a bunch of DK Kaufman. Well, the other safety is Bishop Fitzgerald. And anytime you're having safeties on back-to-back possessions, making plays at the line of scrimmage, if you're an offensive coordinator, an alarm has to go into your head of, hey, maybe we should start play action in these guys and throwing it over their head, getting so advantageous of coming downhill. You're always vulnerable of over the top. Tony Gibson runs that 3-3-5 defense, which is unique in college football. You're seeing more of it. The 5 stands for 5 defensive backs on the field. Gives you a lot of athleticism to play with.
Well, they're going to run it on 3rd down and 10. This is Gavin Williams, so just getting a little breathing room before they send the punt team out onto the field. You know, NC State's defense is struggling as it is so far this year. Remember, the Wolfpack have led the ACC in total defense 3 years in a row. So they've proven this system, I guess, right, works.
They felt like their DBs were playing on their heels last week versus Clemson, being very reactionary so far today. Certainly playing on their toes, feeling the impact of those defenders coming downhill.
Short punt and a fair catch right at the 44-yard line. 38-yard punt. Great field position for NC State, leading by 7.
Let's take a look at today's game summary presented by Pacific Life, creating financial security for over 150 years. And it started with C.J. Bailey, a little designed quarterback run for the true freshman, getting in there for an easy 6. And then we had a fullback sighting. If you missed it, great to see Brock Lampy get in there on a fumble, but that he ultimately recovered. And then another fumble forced by DK Kaufman, who's really showed up on film today. Safety position, lined up at corner right there, comes on a blitz, and that's really been the difference-making play so far today.
Best starting field position of the game for the Wolfpack. And looking for the long ball down the sideline, and a flag comes in. Noah Rogers, the intended receiver. Amarian Knighton.
Pass interference. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Or not a spot of the foul penalty in the college game, as you know.
This is one of those where you're almost getting rewarded for a bad throw. It's inside and underthrown. You know, Knighton has a right to make a play on the ball, too. Does he get his eyes back? He does. He's tangled inside, but man, there's not a lot there, especially, again, that's just a bad throw. So I know the refs aren't necessarily thinking about that, but you're getting rewarded for a play that easily could have been intercepted if you're in the right spot defensively.
That's a couple of 15-yard penalties that have gone against the Huskies so far today, where you could certainly raise your eyebrows about the call. Big running road this time for Jordan Waters. And he picks up a first down inside the 30.
We haven't called his name yet today. Love the patience right there on the run, really setting up the blocks. It's hard to do because you get on the outside edge as a running back. You want to put your left foot in the ground and cut up and go. But you got those big boys in front of you. Take advantage of them. The Duke transfer that had a ton of success. 23 rushing yards there before transferring to NC State, and they feel like the strength of their offense is this running back room.
He had 12 rushing touchdowns last season for the Blue Devils. And the quarterback keeper. And he's wrapped up as Bailey at the 23-yard line. Nice pickup there.
It's a good pickup by this NC State offense, but a touchdown-saving tackle by Jake Gassaway, the reserve linebacker. Had a blocker in front of him, sheds that blocker, and comes up with a tackle in space. If they hold him here or hold him to a field goal, credit Gassaway for getting in the way.
So it brings up a second down and 4, closing in on 6 minutes to go until halftime. Wolfpack trying to add to a 7-point lead. That's Waters again. He'll be short by a yard, maybe 2. 3rd down upcoming.
Get into this middle portion of the game. Defenses are always talking about the middle 6 minutes or middle 4 minutes. Winning this portion of the game. Again, it hasn't had tons of momentum if you're NC State to go into the locker room at half, getting points. getting the momentum on your side could go a long way in deciding this game.
Handed off to Waters, and he did not get there. So it's going to bring up a 4th down and a yard. Do you take the points here, or do you go for it? Because he didn't get it.
I think it ultimately comes down to the confidence you have in your kicker. This is certainly within range, but not necessarily a chip shot. And you get the feeling this is going to be a ball game. And I think you take any points that you can get. Feels like it has the recipe for in a 1-2 score game. Difference between 10 or 7 could decide decisions in the second half, in the fourth quarter.
It's be a 38-yard attempt for Vineset, who's hit on 5 of 6 so far this season. His only miss a 48-yarder. He's hit from 52, so plenty of leg. And that one is good. So you take the point, stick them in your pocket.
What a stop right there for that Northern Illinois defensive line. 3rd and short. Again, that defense responded. We told you they feel good about their defensive line, but like you said, taking the points, going up 2 scores. In a game that's been neck and neck so far.
You're watching CW Football Saturday, brought to you by Pacific Life, creating financial security for over 150 years. Sellout crowd on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in the state capital, Raleigh, North Carolina. I found out a piece of information from Freddie Kiger, our statistician today, and if this doesn't make your day, I don't know what will. The state capital, Raleigh, is one of 2 state capitals in America that's named after a person who was beheaded.
Hey now,
isn't that pleasant?
I thought you were about to ask me some trivia. I was like,
what would be the other? So Raleigh, what is the other? We'll give you at home a second to think about that. And you might want to pull out your Bible for the answer to this one.
Ooh, there's a little tip.
Yeah.
That cuts the list of names down. Yeah, I thought you were about to load up for some North Carolina trivia on me. I was like, you got to give me more years in this league to give you an answer there.
Great place. CW Sports Saturday back next week. Full day of action. We begin in the ACC. You and I will be back here for Wake Forest and NC State. Then it's off to Talladega. The NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs heat up. Cap off the day in Corvallis, Colorado State, Oregon State. It is a CW Sports Saturday starting at noon Eastern.
Future Pac-12 matchup right there with Colorado State, Oregon State. Get used to that matchup.
And the dominoes just continue to fall everywhere, don't they? Hampton rolling, looking, and he just throws it away. That was covered very nice. Tell you, Kaufman has been all over the field today. He picked up the tight end there. Pressure applied by Potter.
They said it would be a linebacker game, and I followed it up with saying, well, Coach, when you have an offense like NIU that's going to throw a lot at you in the run game, feels also like a safety game. DK Kaufman certainly showed up, and on the NIU side of things, you really haven't called a single receiver's name today. Outside of just a couple completions here or there, it's been the running backs, which we knew. But ultimately, to get points on the board, they got to find a way to activate this receiver room.
2nd down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Step throw, that activates the receiver's room. Spun down is Cam Thompson, and that'll move the chains up to the 40.
Yeah, I say that just you get the sense that NIU or North Carolina State's playing downhill. Their safeties, the corners, being aggressive, soften them up a little bit by getting some possessions on the air, some completions on the outside.
It's rare to see NIU not huddle up. They're in hurry-up mode here, trying to pick up some pace to this offense, which is sputtered outside of a couple of good runs by that guy, Brown. That's another good run. Pick up a 4, bring up 2nd down as we close in on 4 minutes to go until halftime, and a 10-point Wolfpack lead again, and hurry up.
Sometimes you do that if you're a play caller to get your quarterback in rhythm, too. He's not thinking as much, not having time to process every decision in the huddle, and you just go out there and react. I like this decision, especially only had 6 attempts going into this drive. Allow your quarterback to settle in a little bit. Just get him in rhythm. You see that oftentimes in the NFL where offenses are struggling. They get into 2 minutes and their quarterback starts dicing them. There's something to be said about getting in rhythm and hurry up.
They spread it out. and then they hand it off. That's a good way to do it. Second down, solid carry up to the 49-yard line. It'll bring up third down and a yard, trying to keep this drive alive and trying to put up some points before halftime.
You have to think, too, two-score game on the road. MAC school coming into an ACC school might be in four-down territory, and if you are, this could potentially be, if you have a shot play or trick play in your back pocket, this could potentially be the time to catch him off guard. But this is also an offense that has two fullbacks they feel comfortable with, multiple tight ends they feel comfortable with. This plays right in their wheelhouse.
And they give it to the fullback. Ramrods his way. Does a big fella Lampy for a first down. That's a load, my man. 252 coming at you.
Little wing T offense right here. Two wing backs. Your tailback's a fullback. Lampy's made for that play. Right behind his guys in the A-gap. Get your pads down. Low man wins. Lampy at 252. That's a lot of man to stop right there in the A-gap.
Well, it was interesting. You know, you look at Coach Hammock, and his background before he took this job was the running backs coach for the Baltimore Ravens in the National Football League. More on that in a minute. Hit as he throws down the middle of the field. What a catch made inside of the 5-yard line by Andrew McElroy. What a play that was. First and goal for NIU. 42 yards.
He does it with a little and one. You can see the shoulder pad right there. I thought they were tugging his jersey the whole way. We saw a PI on the last possession. I'm surprised they didn't get a PI there. It doesn't matter for McElroy. He goes up, high points that thing. That is a phenomenal catch by the senior receiver, 6'3", 192, using that frame to go up and get that thing.
Wow. Sixth catch of the year for McElroy. Grew up just outside the city of Chicago in Bolingbrook. First and goal. CW Football Saturday is presented by Verizon.
Hi, I'm Mike Hammond. Coming up, it's the halftime show presented by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. Ron Pitts will be sitting next to me. We will relive some tense moments last night down in Miami against Virginia Tech, not to mention welcoming a new addition to the Pac-12 in Utah State, and first half analysis. That's still to come, Tom, at the half.
Thanks, Mike. My man Pitsy back there again today. Good stuff. Former star at UCLA. Back to the NFL. Brown in the backfield on the first down and goal. And a run formation, and it is a run. A gain of a yard, maybe two. You know, we're starting to talk about Coach Hammock and being the running backs coach for the Baltimore Ravens. Remember that the Ravens during that time, one of the few teams to use a fullback. Young man out of Lodi, Ohio, went to Harvard, Kyle Juszczyk. And so he you know, implements a little bit into the offense now that he's at NIU.
Without a doubt, one of the best fullbacks in the game. You have that with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Juszczyk. You mentioned it earlier, you had the Russell Wilson era at Wisconsin, which was, as we know, big offensive linemen, tight ends as well. And then offensive coordinator, Schauner, spent time at Pitt, which was big on that outside run scheme, perimeter runs. There's just a lot of different offensive minds and thought processes they're able to mold together.
Well, if you're looking for a cable news network that respects all Americans, and you have a new home with News Nation. See why News Nation is America's fastest growing cable news network. To find News Nation on your screen, go to joinnn.com. You and I have been regulars on News Nation the last 3 weeks.
Making it a habit of it. Saturday mornings, get to the stadium early and tune in. How was your segment today?
Big play on the spectacular catch made by McElroy. They're out of the I formation with a fullback leading the way, but stuffed defensively by NC State. And the first man that was there to really slow it down was Davin Vann. He is a captain, a 3-year starter, in the heart and soul of this defense.
Little I formation, trying to get the outside zone run scheme right there, but just too much pursuit from this NC State defense. Leaving NIU in an awkward zone, too, right? Your third and goal on the 6-yard line. It's too far away to usually dial up a run play. I'd expect to pass here.
Well, how did they get down here?
Yeah, this is the chunk run play right here. You're seeing these safeties. They're coming down into the box, and there's going to be one-on-one shots on the outside all day long that you can attack if you want, if you're NIU. I think if NIU ultimately wins this ball game, that's going to be a key to their success. Can they win on the outside lanes as North Carolina State continues to pack the box?
Well, State has spent back-to-back timeouts, so Wolfpack would like to get the ball back before halftime. 1:49 to go, and this is the 9th play of the drive. It's a 3rd down and goal from outside the 5-yard line.
With no Antonio Brown on the field.
They're going to throw it. And that is a touchdown. Catch is made in the end zone by Cam Thompson. And Northern Illinois breaks out the passing game for this drive, and a point after away from making it a 3-point game. 6-yard scoring strike from Hampton.
We said it, 3rd and goal in the 6, awkward territory, but you dial up a dig route. Safety bites on his buddy, cutting out towards the front pylon, and the outside receiver sneaks up right behind him. It's a great concept, great execution, and a phenomenal drive topped off by Cam Thompson getting in for 6.
Woodall with a point after, and it is good. Huskies needed that one after falling behind by 10. It's a solid drive. And you said they had to get something going in the pass game, and they did from the very first play of the drive.
No doubt, as we check the all 22 of that play, they're going to dial up a little out concept and a dig behind it. You're going to see this safety bite on this out route, and it allows Thompson to sneak right behind him. It's a great design, miscommunication by this NC State secondary. But the passing attack for NIU and Ethan Hampton came alive. Been impressed with their offense's ability to respond and just stay the course. That's the biggest thing. That's what you get with a more veteran team. You're not going to have the momentum up and downs. This is a battle-tested unit that's in this for the fight, 4-quarter fight.
All right, so you have 1:45 to go until halftime. Kaufman is standing back waiting on the kick. And Kaufman will take a knee. So out to the 25-yard line. A reminder, Tuesday nights are about to get a lot bigger on the CW network. Our premiere of WWE NXT is this Tuesday live from the Windy City. That'll be going on. WWE legend making a special appearance, CM Punk. The CW premiere of NXT Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on the CW. We're excited about that. We got a lot going on. Live golf, college football.
Coast to coast, too.
Yep, NASCAR, and now NXT, WWE. All right, so let's see what happens here. First down, Bailey that's a design run all the way. And a good pickup. Enough for a first down out across the 35-yard line. Clock continues to run. They have one timeout left.
Feels similar to what we said last possession with NIU using hurry up to get their passing attack in rhythm. Same applies here with North Carolina State and their young quarterback.
Good protection for Bailey. Nice throw and a nice catch. Made out of the backfield by Raphael, and that'll move the sticks again up close to midfield. They'll spot him. His knee went down at the 46-yard line. So back-to-back 11-yard gains, run and pass. And another nice gain as Rogers is run out of bounds in the Husky territory at the 48-yard line to stop the clock at 1:09 left.
It's great recognition right there by C.J. Bailey. They're bringing pressure, throw into the pressure on quick hitters, get the ball to your hands, and allow your receivers to do something with it afterwards. Minute 9 left in the half. This is where clock management becomes a thing. Only one timeout for NC State, 3 timeouts for Northern Illinois. Thomas Hammock will have to decide how to use them if they get a stop right here.
4-man rush, big pressure, and Bailey able to step out of it and just throws it away. That would have been a big loss. Here's Opong on the pressure.
NIU mixing up the looks a little bit. Play before bringing 5 or 6 guys. That play just rushing 4. Always keep an eye out for Nave Sanders, their pass rushing specialist. Had 3 sacks last week, number 28. And his ears back.
0 for 4 on 3rd down. We said that would be a stat to keep an eye on. It is every week, but especially in this game, and that's a drop on 3rd down. So now you got to punt it. I mean, there's no way with 59 seconds left you're going to go for it here, right? No chance.
Pin him back, trust your defense. Little screen play they're trying to dial up. Jelani Williams, though, even if this ball's caught, 11 Williams, he's right there for the tackle. That would have been short regardless. Defensive end rolling under. It's good recognition by the NIU defense. And you said it, opportunity right here for the offense to potentially get points if you're NIU.
Yeah, Northern Illinois has all 3 timeouts remaining. End over end punt. Will drop inside the 5-yard line. Beautifully done by Noonkester.
He may have been able to get another bounce in there, pin him even closer. But yeah, 50 seconds. You got 3 timeouts. You obviously need to play hurry up and have a beat to your step, but you don't need to rush.
All right, but let me ask you, going to do it at your 5-yard line?
I think it totally depends on how this can you get the first completion? That's always the mindset. Oftentimes right here, maybe a rollout right. If that guy in the flat's open, take it, try to get yourself some rhythm and some breathing room. If you don't, and you're backed up at all, then they might go into the second half.
What Bobby Bowden used to say, buckle up, men. Somebody's about to score here. They had that ball inside the 5 or the 10-yard line.
We saw it in the first quarter with the corner cat sack fumble.
And speaking of Florida State, that's going to be an interesting game to watch. They're just going to run it. And Brown gives them a little bit of breathing room, but they're in no hurry, it doesn't look like, to get up to the line of scrimmage. They will not spend a timeout. The clock continues to run under 40, and they're going to get to the line of scrimmage.
This is a team's identity that wants to run the rock and keep it close and just give yourself a chance in the 4th quarter. That's their identity.
Brown looking for some running room, and he has a 1st down out across the 15-yard line. They'll spot the ball and then start the clock back up again. And NIU's going to huddle up, so that's going to be the final play of this opening half. Tell you what, we said at the very beginning that this Northern Illinois team, we told you they beat number 5 Notre Dame on the road at South Bend. You look at some of their statistics, the way they have played this season, stout defense, solid offense in the air and on the ground, and they've given State a handful. NC State will get the ball to begin the second half.
It's been back and forth. College football is a game of momentum. No team's been able to secure it. Thought they've done some good things. They've got their star running back Brown involved. And in that last drive, they may have found something with Ethan Hampton through the passing attack that could be a key factor as we get into the second half.
So Ethan Hampton hitting that big ball to McElroy that got him 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. That was just an incredible catch by McElroy. And it's 17-14. NC State looking to pick up a win and go to 3-2 on the year. Let's go downstairs to Carla.
Thanks, guys. Coach, 0-5 on 3rd down right now. What's going to be able to help your offense in the second half?
Well, having more manageable 3rd downs is what it is. They're doing a good job stopping the run. We got to be better at running the football. Our 1st down efficiency is not what it needs to be. But we're winning the field position. We're winning the turnover battle right now. We just got to keep pounding, and we got to outlast these guys. They're a tough team. We got to play harder than them these next 30 minutes.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, that's the end of the first half. 17-14. NC State leads Northern Illinois, and we send it now to the CW Football Saturday studio. Mike Yam and Pitsy front picks.
Pittsy ready to rock and roll.
welcome to the CW Football Saturday Halftime Show presented by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. We got a 17-14 game.
Yeah.
This felt a little uneven from an NC State perspective. Things, though, look, you're struggling. They're coming off a tough loss against Clemson.
Yeah.
They felt like they needed to make a little magic happen early. They were willing to take some chances.
Well, it's the cardinal sin here. Don't stumble in and out of the half. And that's exactly what NC State is doing. Everything looked good up till the last 5 minutes here. Northern Illinois hit the big pass play.
Yeah.
And everything changed from that point. And they're lucky they didn't have a chance to go back down the field here in this last drive and get more points. But defensively, that's been the issue. I think defensively, North Carolina State has been able to make big plays like this right here, and that's the difference. That's the sack fumble there. Kaufman with his second big play of the nature this year. Had another one earlier in the year, and also they faked a punt. That was big as well. That led to turnovers and energy early, which is what they needed. But right now, they're struggling big time.
Yeah, first fumble return for a touchdown since 2003 for this squad. And this has been a team that's been having some issues this season, generating pressure. So definitely a positive sign for that team's defense. Meanwhile, C.J. Bailey, his second career rushing touchdown for the true freshman quarterback. Right now, NC State holding on to a 17-14 lead at the break. Kim and Ron Pitts with you. Let's get right to the nation's highlights for All America, America's fastest growing cable news network. Virginia Tech on the road against Miami. This thing came down to the wire. 2 minutes to go here. Hurricanes were down 34-31. Isaiah Horton with the touchdown from Cam Ward. Miami up 38-34. Ward threw for 343, had 4 touchdowns, did have a couple turnovers. Meanwhile, 3 seconds on the clock. Last play of the game. Kyron Jones, the Hail Mary. Ron, we felt like this thing might be good.
Every time this play goes off, hold your breath and maybe a couple other things because you never know what's about to happen. And this play did not disappoint.
No, it did not, because initially we felt like it was going to be called a touchdown. In fact, that was the ruling on the field. But you could see some bobble action right there. Yeah. And yes, they did go to the review. It was reversed. Mario Cristobal's team, boy, oh boy, they survived a big one. Will probably remain in the top 10. Virginia Tech, though, gave them a real scare. Ole Miss is one of those teams we watched a couple weeks ago here on the CW. You could see at the half trailing Kentucky 10-7. The top 25 matchup between Oklahoma State and K-State. The Wildcats right now leading in that game. And don't look now, Baylor's starting to make a little bit of a run, but still trailing BYU 31-14 is the count. All eyes on that Louisville Notre Dame game coming up in just a bit. Meanwhile, Goffman, we talked about some of the big moments that he had in this game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Lampy getting into the end zone. I'll take that for the score.
They got bailed out.
NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff racing from Kansas. It is coming up next only on the CW. Still to come, we got second half action around the corner. NC State on top of Northern Illinois, 17-14. Oh, give me the sack. That hasn't happened in 7 games for NIU. We got ourselves a score and a good game. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we got second half action right now. I know you've been a little disappointed from a Wolfpack perspective on what you're seeing from some of their skill players.
Well, we talked about Concepcion, the leading receiver for the team, their star. You'd think he'd have the ball, right, and catches. He's got 1 catch for -3 yards. The next leading receiver is Jolie, the tight end. Big guy, can run. A lot of NFL scouts are looking at him. He's got 1 catch for 6 yards. You got to get your playmakers involved, and I think that's one thing that Coach Doran is talking to his offensive people about. Let's get our stars the ball. Start moving Concepcion around. That's what he does best. We mentioned that. Get him in places where he can be effective, be better on penalties, be better on 3rd down.
Yeah, I think from a NIU perspective, this is a team that does not make a whole lot of mistakes. A bunch of seniors just want to keep it close and maybe give themselves an opportunity to win, which is exactly where they are. Actually, right before halftime, the wide receiver, Andrew McElroy, 42-yard reception. That set up a touchdown. That was a huge strike for this team. Tom, Max, and Carla, the second half call right around the corner. This has been the Subaru Halftime Show presented by Subaru. Love is what makes Subaru, Subaru. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon.
Welcome you back to Raleigh, North Carolina. We've got a ball game here. NIU out of the MAC rolling into town, trailing by 3 against NC State at halftime. We figured this was going to be a close game. You thought it when we were talking yesterday after leaving our meetings, Max, and that it is. This is a game.
Without a doubt, and third down really sticks out. You have NIU is 4 for 8, and the other side, NC State, is 0 for 5. And that's important in any game, but it's also the same recipe for how NIU beat Notre Dame as well. So getting to third and manageable, staying on track right there. And outside of that first drive for NC State offensively, haven't done a ton. Remember, DK Kaufman, NC State safety, had the sack, scoop and score, fumble for a touchdown. Without that play, the nature of this game could be a lot different. You're seeing it right there. 4 for 8 on third down for NIU, 0 for 5 for NC State. That factor right there, that category could ultimately decide this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's, they looked so good, did NC State on that drive to begin the afternoon, but extremely quiet. 3 of those 8 first downs came on that first drive. So only 5 the rest of the half. Going to check in with Carla Gebhardt here in just a second. Short kick as NC State gets the ball. Fielded at the 20 and tackled at the... No, not tackled at all. Hold on a minute. Then he lost his footing naturally. You bring a couple of tackles and you just fall down. All right, let's send it downstairs to Carla. You had a chance to visit with Coach Hammock.
Yeah, I did, guys. And he said, listen, we are very optimistic about having the possibility of winning this game. We're right where we want to be. We're a physical football team, he said, and we are not afraid of NC State. He said, had it not been for penalties and turnovers, we might actually be winning this game.
The stat that jumped out to me when we were talking with Coach Hammock, he made reference to 41% of games in the MAC last year came down to 1 possession. He was speaking that through the lens of just how even the playing field is in that conference. But in a game like this, with guys that have played a lot of football in this uniform, it's got to give you a lot of confidence, especially as you get into the second half of this ball game.
The 2 programs that have been steady as she goes for a long period of time have been Northern Illinois and Ohio University. They've been to the most bowl games of any 2 programs, but Toledo has been the dominant force the last year or 2, and there's some talk that the Mountain West Conference would like to bring Toledo into the fold.
Conference realignment, there's always talk, always people shaking around. I felt like for the most part the MAC was insulated though throughout all these conversations, not getting poached by not having their schools get poached by their conferences.
It's a great league, and I'm biased. I'll be the first to admit, having gone to a Mid-American Conference school, the Ohio University.
It's really the last, or one of the last, truly regional conferences.
Gain of 2 on first down, and just covering up the snap. It looked like Bailey just mishandled it. It didn't look like a terrible snap, maybe a little bit low and to his left. But that will be a loss on the play, and immediately you're looking at a 3rd down and 13. It's been a very quiet day so far for the big star sophomore Casey Concepcion.
Yeah, came into this game today 2nd in the ACC in receptions. They haven't found a way to get him the ball, and again they find themselves 3rd and long. Coach Dave Doran said it. Got to get yourself to more 3rd and manageable.
3rd down and across the middle of the field, way too high for the intended target, Concepcion. So it turns into a 3 and out after a penalty got him all the way out to start this drive to the 33-yard line. Northern Illinois is going to get the ball.
Yeah, in terms of the passing game for NC State, it's been a lot of play action, rollout type of plays. You haven't seen a lot truly from the pocket, and 3rd and long's tough. That was a better throw. Nate Valcarcel, the safety for NIU, might have picked that.
Good hang time on this punt, and a fair catch at the 22-yard line by Cam Thompson. See the numbers offensively. The one big run, 34 yards by Ontario Brown. Otherwise, the NC State defense has done a nice job on him. Solid numbers there in 10 attempts, 7 completions and a touchdown. The big play made by McElroy on the bomb towards the end of the first half just made a spectacular grab, setting up the touchdown.
That to me is the X factor in this second half. Can the receivers be productive? You know what you're going to get from Brown. For the most part, you know what you're going to get from Hampton. If the receivers can come up with a few big plays, that could go a long way.
And flushed out of the pocket. The ball is loose again. Is it another defensive touchdown? No signal given. Apparently it's a turnover. And recovered by NC State. That's Brandon Cleveland picking the ball up. After Van was the one who stripped it loose. Huge play for the Wolfpack defense.
We saw it in the first half. NC State coming up with a sack close to NIU's territory. Have Ethan Hampton's trying to roll out of his left, and Davin Van says, I got the speed to run with you. He punches it loose, and his buddy Brandon Cleveland picks it up. Man, those have been the two most important plays in this game. Earlier on with DK Kaufman off the edge, and then this time Van, who's been right in the middle of that NC State defense, not only this year, but the past couple seasons, a major factor in showing out there.
Get that turnover bone going on the sideline for the Wolfpack. Whoever has the most signatures on that thing at the end of the year gets to keep it.
If you're Hampton, when you roll out, when you drop step and you leave the pocket, you got to know guys are coming, got to protect that ball. Can't give it up.
Quarterback keeper and stuffed. May have lost a yard, or I beg your pardon, that was out of the taking the direct snap was Jordan Waters out of the Wildcat. So second down and goal now from the 2. And Bailey back in there.
Man, that play's huge. NC State's offense hasn't been able to generate momentum today outside of that first drive. It's really coming down to just a couple plays. Let's see if this NIU defense can bow up, though.
Well, you got to give the defense a chance to make substitutions here, and that's why now it's blown into play. Second down and goal. Bailey out of the shotgun. And they pitch it to Concepcion, trying to turn the corner. Spun off one tackle, but can't run through another. And that is beautifully played on defense. Jaden Dolphin.
This is a great job by this corner. You mentioned it. Dolphin on the outside edge right there. Sets contain. That was a key in this game. Can you set edges and keep contain on a defense or versus an offense that loves that jet sweep game? It's a great job by the secondary. You don't often talk about safeties and corners making tackles near the goal line. But when they're asked to do it, it's a great job showing up.
Concepcion in the backfield standing right next to Bailey. And now Concepcion in motion on a third and goal. They get it to Concepcion, and he will get into the end zone. It is a touchdown for NC State. Lost a yard running, lost another yard running, but they connect to Concepcion, who was put in motion. This guy's been a touchdown machine since coming to NC State a year ago.
It's their first third down pickup of the game, and they go find their man, Concepcion. We saw this play yesterday at the Friday walkthrough. Had a feeling they'd get to it early. So tough defensively when you line them up in the backfield, motion them out wide. The man-to-man coverage guy, it's hard to stick with it. It's a long way to run, using the skill set and the speed of your skill receiver.
You know, the McMillan kid out in Arizona is the only wide receiver in all of the FBS that has more receiving touchdowns than Concepcion over the last year plus.
That is good company to be in. NC State responds early on in this second quarter.
You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. What a turn of events after NC State goes 3 and out, getting the ball to begin the second half. NIU for the second time has its quarterback, Ethan Hampton, cough it up close to the goal line. In the first half, it turned into a touchdown. In the second half, it was recovered at the 1-yard line. And then the scoring strike from 3 yards out to Concepcion from Bailey. So a 10-point lead for the Wolfpack. And again, this one booted back through the end zone.
As we look at the all-22 of this play, first off, unique formation, 2 guys in the backfield right there. Such a tough spot for safety Javon Bird, as he's got to track Concepcion right to the front pylon. Just a lot of bodies to maneuver, as it's just really a foot race to the front pylon, man-to-man coverage. Putting the safety in a tough spot. Not a lot you can do right there if you're Bird, and credit this NC State offense for getting their playmaker the rock.
Well, Hampton was so good the first 2 games of the year, including the win at Notre Dame, second game of the year. They handed off to Brown, and he's been bottled up outside of the 134-yard run. Been a very quiet day for Brown. Came in averaging almost 4.7 yards per carry. It looks good today because of that one lone big run.
Yeah, and this offense is not built to really come from behind, or really when you have mistakes offensively, this is not an overly explosive offense that can really make up for that. They pride themselves on running the rock and having the defense make mistakes that they take advantage of, whether it's not fitting in their run lanes and things like that. Those 2 sack fumbles, man, it's been the key of the game so far.
And again, a reminder, this is an offensive line that had not allowed a sack in the last 6 games, including the first 3 of this season. And Brown, good running room here. I think he was surprised how big that hole was. Not a defender in sight, and that's good enough for a first down up to the 36.
Again, look at the vision, working towards his right, and that safety just can't fit. That was the problem last week versus Clemson, too. You saw Cade Klubnik go on a 50-yard home run versus NC State defense last week. That's been the message all week in practice, especially against a running attack like this. It's not just the defensive line, it's not just the linebackers, but the safeties have to fill in their right lane to come up with tackles.
First and 10 to the 36-yard line. Brown stays in the game, and once more he'll take the handoff, and once more he has running room. Boy, they're blowing open some holes now all of a sudden, and that's another first down, a gain of 11.
And that hole was as big as it comes. They're not going to block 97 right there, force him to be in a bind. That's as big as it gets, and it's because you have tight ends working towards your right. The defense has to respect that. You got the offensive line flowing to your left. Well, what does that leave? It leaves for a wide open middle of the field. No one accounting for that.
Closing in on another 100-yard rushing day is Brown. He's been doing that since the day he stepped on campus. We brought up earlier over 3,000 all-purpose yards. Been a better receiver this year. Quarterback is going to hang on to it. Spins out of the tackle, and the pile will push him forward. That turns into a decent little gain. It looked like it may have been a sack, and it turns into a 3-yard pickup.
It's been a little bit of the theme for this NIU offense. After a critical mistake, they just get right back on the horse, putting drives together, right back to their identity, running the rock, chipping away at it. The success at the end of the first half was coming up with a big play. You mentioned it, the big run to Brown in the first quarter, and then the over-the-top throw to McElroy. It feels like they need one of those here.
Sellout crowd on hand here today at Carter-Finley Stadium. 16th consecutive sellout. That is a school record. And here's Brown once more. He's caught from behind this time. Told you how well they have played here. 25 of their last 29. You see what they've done in ACC home games. Very impressive.
It was cool being at Media Day back in August, and you asked toughest places to play. You get a lot of Clemsons out there, but NC State,
yep,
had some players mention them.
It's be a 3rd down and 7. They need to get to the 43-yard line. Here comes the blitz, hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Blanket coverage by Cooley. And it looks like Northern Illinois is going to punt on 4th down and 7 from midfield. Yep.
It's great coverage by Cooley and pressure right in his face by Sean Brown. Cooley played nickel. Sean Brown used to play nickel in that safety spot, now beefed up playing that linebacker role. It's great team defense. You get home with the pressure and you're strong and tight on the back end right in the receiver's hip.
So the drive stalls at midfield. Coit stands back inside his own 10. He'll come up, very short punt, but he lets it bounce. Bad decision there by Coit. He could have fair caught that ball about the 15-yard line, lets it bounce, and it's inside the 5. 24-14, you're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon.
We're back. NC State up versus NIU, and the story so far has been the sack fumbles. First up, DK Kaufman in the first half, coming at the safety position, and then Ethan Hampton, not enough ball security there, and Davin Vann takes advantage. And then right after that, NC State wastes no time getting the ball in the hands of their playmaker, Kevin Concepcion. When you win the turnover margin at NC State, you win the ball game. That holds true for every level of football. Winning the turnover margin so far today, up 2-0.
Two huge plays because the offense has only put together 125 yards before that carry by Raphael out across the 10. Good pickup on first down.
This is a big drive for this NC State offense, too. Can you separate in this game, or do you let NIU keep hanging around, Right now you're up 10 points. 17 puts the whole mindset of this game in a different category.
Raphael stays in the backfield. That's Rogers in motion. And that was ugly right from the start. And a flag comes in. Is that going to be a late hit? Boy, NC State has been bailed out 3 times in this game.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense. Number 97. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
They're going to get Roy Williams, and honestly, it's flirting there a little bit with what you're always concerned about with targeting the crown of the helmet. If he drops that head, puts it right into the head or neck area of the quarterback, that's going to get called every single time. If he keeps his head up, that might not get called. He might not get bailed out, like you said.
All right, so a first down, automatic first down, puts the ball up at the 26-yard line. So they started on their 5 a minute ago. And with that penalty, they've got some room to work with. That'll be a 4-yard pickup on first down. Raphael getting most of the carries here today. He's only a sophomore out of Naples, Florida. Bailey's going to be slung down to the ground.
Roy Williams gets his revenge. He got called on the roughing the passer, and this time gets a legal hit. And Tom, you said it, between the 2 sack fumbles and the penalties, NIU's had 2 15-yarders that were questionable, or at least right in the gray area a little bit. That's obviously not how you win games on the road.
A little surprised Williams is out of the game. He's one of their better pass rushers, and you've got a 3rd down and 8. Call it 7 from the 28-yard line. And Bailey, it nearly was intercepted by Furman. And he had nothing but pay dirt in front of him.
And this is their defensive coordinator, Nick Benedito, dialing up. They give the look like they're bringing 7, bringing pressure, and then they bail out. Christian Furman, who started lined up over the center, bails right into the hook curl zone. You're confusing a young true freshman. That's a great defensive call, executed well by the players as well.
So NC State helped by a penalty. And now a low line drive punt. And again, this one is fielded on one hop to the 25, up to close to the 30-yard line on the return by Thompson. So it's 24-14 NC State, and this is CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. It's a good K-State team. And Oklahoma State had it taken to them at home last week by the team that looks to be the best team in the Big 12 so far this year, and that's Utah. Not a surprise to anybody. First down incomplete. Threw into double coverage there. By the way, they moved the ball all the way back to the 19-yard line, apparently claiming that a fair catch was signaled for. So rather than up close to the 30, it's short of the 20. Ten-point game. NC State in front. 5:44 to play in the 3rd quarter. Here's Brown. And he's wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Picked up a yard, maybe 2. And here is what they were claiming was a fair catch signal. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, his arms never got above his waist.
And I believe the wording may have been invalid fair catch signal, so they may be switching what they originally ruled. Either way, it's clear to anyone who's watched football that he was saying, hey, everyone get away, get away. Difference of 5 yards right there.
All right, so third down. NC State defense has been good here in this second half, and they run it on third down, and that is a first down. Gavin Williams, the transfer from Iowa. Playing good football for the Hawkeyes there, and now at NIU.
Little outside zone run fake, cuts up, and man, if he could stay on balance, he gets through that second level, that could have been 30 or 40 more yards. Interesting call there on third and what was 7 or 8. Usually you see that being passed. Speaks to the identity of this NIU offense.
Williams stays in the game and gets it on first down. He picks up a couple of yards.
Talk so much about Ontario Brown. His counterpart, Gavin Williams. Both those guys had big games versus Notre Dame when the upset happened. It's unique to have, you know, 2 backs in the MAC, both over 210 pounds, physical, quick. It's a good 1-2 punch they have.
Second down and 9. They stay on the ground as Brown checks back into the game. Gets a couple of yards. It'll bring up another third down. It's similar to the down and distance that we saw a moment ago when they ran it and converted on the third down play. We'll see this time.
We've seen it a couple times this possession where they'll do what they call trade. They'll trade their tight ends, start on one side and then flip to the other side. And when that happens, you can see Caden Foreman, the middle linebacker for NC State, have to communicate a bunch and signal to all his guys. Not insignificant now having the helmet communication that you can utilize to talk to your guys, but there's a lot of communication when you're facing this NIU rushing attack defensively, just adjusting to the moving pieces they can get to.
That's a redshirt freshman, Isaiah Shirley. He grew up just down the road in Boone, North Carolina, where they had all of the terrible flooding that was going on there outside of Asheville, in and around. They had to move the Appalachian State game. Appalachian State plays in Boone, North Carolina. But this guy, you know, we talked about how Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator, said, look, there are a lot of guys whose jobs are on the line during this past week at practice. And he said one guy that's going to get more playing time based on the way he competed against Clemson was Shirley.
Yeah. It was, Carlos said it in the first half, but they watched film as an entire unit on Monday morning following the Clemson loss, which is very unique. Usually defenses go into their separate position groups. But it was a message of, hey, it's not just one guy that needs to figure it out, not just one position group that needs to figure it out, but all 3 levels of a defense who historically, under Coach Doran's, played at a really high level.
Well, hopefully he's going to be all right. He's able to walk off the field under his own power, although with a slight limp.
Yeah, look at that entry today, giving up a lot of points. Yards is a totally different story. Not shown on that graphic is obviously the 2 takeaways that we've talked about. But to keep this offense under 200 yards, it was gut check time for this NC State defense, and they've responded so far this week.
Yeah, basically the defense has scored 2 touchdowns in this game. You know, one was picked up, scooped up for a touchdown. Here's the third down. And hit as he threw was Horton, and there is a penalty flag down. He was looking for his big tight end, Grayson Barnes. And this time it might be the Huskies who are bailed out by the penalty.
Pass interference. Defense, number 7. Ball he placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
Yeah, they're going to get Bishop Fitzgerald, safety spot lined up over the tight end. Grayson Barnes, who really plays that receiver tight end hybrid for this NIU offense, actually leads the team in receptions. And in the PI calls we've seen today, not on that angle, but the angle before, his left arm's tugged around Barnes's chest. I think that was a good call especially in the context of some of the PIs we've seen today.
Crowd didn't like it. They didn't see the same angle you referred to there, Max. They just saw the one that you just most recently saw and thought there was nothing there. So a first down. Fake the handoff and looking for the big one again. And this ball is, oh my, nearly a great catch by Thompson. He had the defender beat. Better thrown ball, and that's a touchdown.
That ball just kind of hung up there. Usually you like when quarterbacks put air on the ball because it allows the receiver to adjust, but Thompson just can't keep his footing. It's probably a little far too outside for him. As a receiver, you'd like that one back, and as a quarterback, especially with a shot like that, you have so much grass ahead of you and towards the inside. Much easier for a receiver to adjust to a ball working inside rather than having to work against his momentum. That is a missed opportunity on a rare shot play by this NIU offense.
And Thompson is down and right back up. Let me ask you, though, look, football 101. You played quarterback at USC and then later Pitt. Is a play like that designed for the receiver to look for the ball over his right shoulder, to the outside in this case, or to the inside, his left shoulder?
To the inside on that one, yeah, over his left shoulder. Yeah. But like I was saying, I mean, Cam Thompson had him beat. And so if you had him beat, sometimes you want to take less air, or you want to take air off the ball, just get it in his hands. And I would say fading the ball inside when there's no safety over the top like there, that's easier for a receiver to adjust to rather than him having to open his hips and work out towards the outside.
This is Brown out of the Wildcat. That didn't fool anybody. Most notably, Caden Fordham, top tackler for the Wolfpack. Another third down and long.
In the first half, NIU had a lot of third down and manageable. Rushing game was working a little bit better. So far in this second half, it's been a lot of third down and longs, which then has put the pressure on the back of Ethan Hampton's right arm, and that's not necessarily how this offense is built.
Well, they dialed up pressure when they needed it. Couple of strip sacks recovered by the defense. A third down and 10. And here they come. Ball is caught, and it's going to be short of a first down, I think, by about a foot. He needed to get to the 48-yard line, and it looks like the far side official is marking it just outside the 48. Are they calling it a first down? It doesn't look like it would be one from here. Fourth down, you got to go, right?
Got to go at 10? This point in the game, yeah. Good job by Ethan Hampton, hanging in the pocket, gets hit again. Oh, wow, it's under his armpit, too. That's a difficult throw to make. That's a tough quarterback play. Credit Hampton for giving his guy a chance to make a play. But again, if you're going to run that route, got to get the sticks. If you're going to catch it, got to be able to pick up the first.
Well, you got the big fullback in there, Lampy again, and once more he has a first down. Demopoulos, by the way, was the one who hung on to that football, nearly coming away with the first down. So they'll move the chains as we are under a minute 5 to go in this third quarter, and a 10-point North Carolina State lead.
Just like we were used to the Philadelphia Eagles, just doing the tush-push with Jalen Hurts, man. Yeah. When you're playing NIU, get ready for that fullback dive. But also, especially as we get later into this game, if there's a wrinkle off of that play or a play action off that play, we've seen it 3 or 4 times today already. The fullback dive, that is.
Well, it's a 10th play of the drive. They haven't gone all that far. Here's a big run. And over 100 yards today, up over 115 yards today is now Antario Brown.
Between the motions, the different formations, the multiple fullbacks, multiple tight ends, might not necessarily look like it on your couch, but NIU's throwing a lot at this NC State defense in the run game.
Here's Brown again. He's able to pick up 2 yards on the first down carry, and what will be the final play of this third quarter, and it's still very much a game. 24-14 NC State. And we go to the fourth. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. 24-14, North Carolina State in front of Northern Illinois, but the Huskies on the move as we begin this fourth quarter. Ball spotted at the NC State 33-yard line. It's been the NC State defense today. Couple of sacks, couple of fumbles, one recovered for a touchdown, the other led to a touchdown. And coming back one way, that thing blew up right from the beginning. Boy, can you believe that NC State on offense in the third quarter, Max, had a total of 8 yards.
Yeah, they did not do much. I mean, we talked so much about the sack fumble. They didn't have to do much. It gave them the rock in their own territory, just had to punch it in. And then Northern Illinois, right now, this is about to be their 13th play of this drive, so playing a little bit of keep away. And on that last play, it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but credit Rente Hinton, the corner in the boundary, sniffing out that screen pass. If he wasn't there, that could have gone in for a touchdown.
So another big third down. They've been able to convert once on a penalty, twice on passes, and nearly a one-handed spectacular catch by McElroy. But there is a penalty flag on the near sideline right in front of the NC State bench.
Illegal motion, offense, number 81. That penalty is declined. Fourth down.
McElroy almost pulled that thing in again.
It was a heck of an effort going with the one-handed catch. You know your ribs are going to get exposed. You know you're going to take a shot. But at this stage in the game, on 3rd and long, got to put your body on the line. As NIU down 10 in the fourth quarter, a lot of time left. We're going to try to get 3 on the board.
This will be a 50-yard try. The season long for Woodill is 42. Well, these college kickers, they are just killing the ball these days. We saw the game last night in the ACC, Virginia Tech and Miami. In the last minute and a half of the first half, you had a 58-yarder and a 56-yarder. That one from 50, a career long. So now it is a one-possession game with nearly an entire quarter to go. By the way, let me ask you this. You've seen, I assume, for a second. I say that because I have not seen the play that ended the game last night between Virginia Tech and Miami.
I did.
What were your thoughts on that? It was ruled a touchdown, basically a Hail Mary, and then it was overturned.
I was glad we were not in the booth because I don't want to be the analyst right there having to make the call. It was Andre Ware last night, and he went against what ultimately was the call. They called it, they overturned it and said it was incomplete. I was kind of on Andre Ware's side of, I don't know if there was indisputable video evidence to overturn that, which is tough. And I also think the rule can be interpreted differently. You have to have complete control. Well, complete is somewhat subjective of, sure, you know, he came down to the ground, and do you have to wait for a pause or 2 pauses, all that? It was, man, I was glad I didn't have to break that one down. It could have gone either way. I think Virginia Tech has every reason to say, you know what, we should have came away with the win. And I think Miami says, no, it wasn't a catch. You didn't come down with it and secure it fully. So a true 50-50 call.
All right, so NC State, we'll see if the Wolfpack can do anything on offense, and they need to do something right now. Coming up next, the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs begin in Kansas. Top 12 drivers start the race towards winning a title. NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff racing coming up next only on the CW. Many of you quite familiar with how the standings shake out going into our race later today here on CW Sports. Well, look at this formation. Haven't seen this in a while.
NIU not fully lined up.
And they pitch it to Concepcion. And he's able to get out across the 30 up to the 32-yard line. It's a pretty nice pickup on first down. That's almost as many yards as they've had this entire second half.
It's probably a luxury, too, if you're NIU's defense. You're so used to going up against your own offense that does tons of tight end shifts and motions and different jet sweep actions. You've been having to line up all spring camp, all summer. You're used to the crazy formations.
It's a gain of 6, second down. And they fake the pitch, and then they just dump it off to Waters, who was left all alone after faking it to him. He has the first down up to the 45-yard line. So a nice start. Back-to-back plays for the Wolfpack. That'll be a gain of 14.
Love that design, too. The defense, you see the play-action fake, then you naturally bail into the secondary. And I think that was a design check down because they had Justin Jolie, the other tight end, blocking for Waters after he made that catch. It's a unique, creative way to get a young quarterback an easy completion.
Well, I tell you, this has been one mighty stingy Northern Illinois defense. The Wolfpack not even with 150 total yards of offense in this game. And if you're just joining us and you're wondering, well, how in the world does NC State have 24? They had a strip sack inside the 10 that was recovered for a touchdown in the first half. And in the second half, they had a strip sack recovered at the 1, which led to a touchdown. That's 14 of their 24 points in the game.
And yes, they've been stingy and they've played well today, but they need to come up with a takeaway in their own right. We've talked so much about the 2 takeaways from NC State. If you're NIU, defense has to come up with the big play on this drive.
Second down and 8. Bailey to throw it. Spins out of a sack and is able to pick up some positive yards. He'll tiptoe out of bounds, crossing midfield to the 49. No, they're going to mark it better than that. You have one official on the far side who says the ball should be at the 49, another standing at the 46, and they mark it at the 49. So it's going to be 3rd down and 4.
We'll see right here where he went out. What a luxury it is to have a quarterback that can evade those rushers.
3rd down and 4.
Goes right on that, right where they have it. 49-yard line or so. Totally changes the playbook. Rather than it being 3rd, 9, and 10, you got a 3rd and 4 here.
Blitz coming, and they will get to Bailey for a big sack all the way back at the 37-yard line. Erweiler along with Valcarcel. Strong safety blitz there, and it pays off for the Huskies.
Nick Benedito, he's dialing it up for his defense. You sometimes see safety blitzes. You don't always see it from depth as well. Offensive line has no chance of picking that up, and quarterback-wise, if you're seeing a safety blitz from depth, that clock's got to go off in your head. That's 2 back-to-back 3rd down calls to get your defense off the field, bringing pressure and confusing a young quarterback.
So now Northern Illinois going to get the football back. What a punt right there. Fielded at the 7-yard line. And running the wrong way back there. And still running the wrong way back there. And able to plow forward up to the 15 is Cam Thompson. Excellent punt at 53 yards. It's a 7-point game, boys and girls. 11:21 left. CW Football Saturday presented by Verizon. You're watching CW Football Saturday, brought to you by Pacific Life, creating financial security for over 150 years.
We've heard a lot about how NIU has 32 seniors on this squad, but reversely, NC State, 42 new faces on this squad, and that's what head coach Dave Doran said was really the difference maker. NIU just kind of built differently. They're still trying to figure out who they are as a squad this season, and hopefully doing that a little bit more today, guys.
All right, Carla, thank you. 11:21 to play. And it's a 7-point game. They go out of the Wildcat. And juggling the snap, and very, very fortunate that Brown was able to find the handle, picks up a yard.
Seeing all the eye candy NIU can get to. Starts in shotgun, then go under center, then you finish in Wildcat. Lot to manage. But credit Caden Foreman, middle linebacker for NC State. Critical drive right here. Last time NIU got a field goal on a 14-play drive. Feels like they got to dial up something here.
Take the handoff to Brown, and then a really nice pass. It'll be enough for a 1st down. Out across the 25-yard line, it's Cam Thompson on the catch and a 1st down for the Huskies.
Man, Thompson's really made some contested catches today. I've liked him as a true possession receiver, plays that X spot for this offense. Doesn't get a ton of targets, but so far today, when his number's been called, Hasn't been wide open necessarily, but continuing to make that competitive catch.
It's his third catch. He is a sophomore transfer from Eastern Illinois out of Boardman, Ohio. That's up east of Cleveland. And on first down, Brown, not much running room this time.
To Carla's point about the familiarity of his roster, it's funny, NC State having 42 new faces. That's become the norm in college football, and NIU able to keep their star player Ontario Brown, 114 yards, getting him touches. He's had a good day. That's what you expect from him. I think from NIU to ultimately come away with this thing, they need a big play here, whether it's Brown, whether it's back to Thompson. We've seen McElroy and called his name a little bit on the outside. It's going to be hard to roll out another 13, 14, 15 play drive.
28 rushing attempts by Brown, a career high. They roll the quarterback. Nice catch made out to the 30-yard line. Very short gain, but the reception by their rock-solid tight end, Grayson Barnes.
Not easy as a quarterback. Right-handed quarterback rolling to your left. Does a good job flipping his hips. Accurate throw. Might not look like much, but it gets you to third and a long 7, maybe an 8. Much more manageable.
Need to get up to the 37-yard line for a first down. As we are under 9 minutes to go, and NIU trailing NC State by 7. Blitz coming. And sacked all the way back at the 20-yard line is Ethan Hampton. Cooley was there. Brown was there. A huge sack. Third big one of this game for the Wolfpack.
You can see this offensive line pointing, signaling, and talking all leading up to the snap. Confusing picture to decipher, and you have a bunch of Wolfpack defenders right in the kitchen of Ethan Hampton. They're going to be forced to punt it away and trust their defense.
But now you're starting to get concerned about the time. There's still a long way to go, 8 minutes. Here's a punt, and it will bounce again and be downed at the 37-yard line. So 7:56 to go, and NC State clinging to a 7-point lead. It's been a tight one the entire way. Kentucky has really played very, very well, but do they have enough to come back and win it at Ole Miss? First down carry for a couple of yards. 7:45 to play in Raleigh, North Carolina.
If you're NC State, this has to be a Jordan Waters drive. Behind this offensive line, eat some clock. And the message to C.J. Bailey as a true freshman. He's been good in the turnover column so far today. Hasn't put the ball in jeopardy through the air. Had that one fumble scare, but don't come up with the critical mistake late in this ball game.
Using a lot of that play clock as it's down under 7 before they snap it. Out of the shotgun, second down. Bailey, good protection, lays it off to Waters. And he has a first down. That's a big first down now. Each team with 3 timeouts, all 3 remaining.
The ability for a young quarterback to go through his progressions downfield and then check the ball down. You get a lot of trust with your offensive coordinator, as we're seeing the extra effort from Jordan Waters. But just the trust. They're still getting used to each other, right? Offensive coordinator, quarterback, still getting the feel of big-time Division I football. When you can call those plays and trust that your quarterback's going to make the right decision and get the ball down to your playmaker's hands and keep this offense on track, as a quarterback, it gives you the opportunity to get the next shot play called later on in the drive.
First down, turn around and hand it off to Waters. They'll pick up a couple of yards. This C.J. Bailey, we mentioned he's out of Miami. Going all the way back to 2000, 25 years of Wolfpack football. He's only the 3rd true freshman to start a game. M.J. Morris did it a couple of years ago. Of course, he's since transferred. And then the all-time legendary quarterback, although some might argue Roman Gabriel, but certainly Phillip Rivers, as far as success at the next level, is the most recognizable former Wolfpack quarterback. He did that, started every game, in fact, back in the 2000 season.
Yeah, that's some good ones here.
Yeah, they really have. Penalty flag. That's going to be a false start against NC State. That's the last thing in the world you want right now, especially when it looked like you were going to run the ball. You stop the clock.
False start. Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
So then you go from 2nd and 8 to now 2nd down and 13. Those are little plays, man, that you just never know. I mean, we'll see how this whole thing plays out. It may ultimately mean nothing. But those are little plays that can lose you a game.
It's a good point. When you're trying to eat clock, keep that clock moving, you don't want to get yourself in spots where you have to throw the ball.
And they're going to throw it. Great protection for Bailey. And he's looking around, throws incomplete, no penalty flag. Stop clock reads 5:17, a 3rd and 13 upcoming.
Talk about bang plays. If that ball hangs in the air a little bit longer and is an interception, that could have been different. And the coaching point on film in that scenario, when you're trying to eat clock, if you're CJ Bailey, is take off and run. He's athletic enough to do that. You escape the pocket, no one's open downfield, don't need to force it. Pick up 3, 5, 7 yards, stay in bounds. Not only keep the clock moving, but get more to a more manageable 3rd and 7 or 8 or so.
3rd down and 13. The Wolfpack 1 of 9 on 3rd downs. They're showing blitz here at the line of scrimmage. We'll see if they drop back, and a timeout is called.
Delay a game.
No, delay a game, I beg your pardon.
5-yard penalty.
Wow.
3rd down.
I mean, Dave Doran's got to be losing his mind down there on the sideline.
And it's interesting, too, because as a play caller nowadays, now that you can talk to your quarterback, if you feel like you're late in getting the play in, yes, it cuts off at the 15-second mark, but in this scenario, those are the types of reminders you would give your quarterback, saying, hey, don't have a delay of game, don't put the ball in jeopardy, or like I just said, hey, if you get that opportunity again, maybe run for it rather than force it in there. It's a byproduct of a young quarterback.
So 3rd down, and Bailey is just going to eat it. And he'll lose even more yards. I mean, you think about these last 3 attempted snaps of the football. You had a 2nd down and 8, right? You have a false start. Then you have a delay of game. Now you have a sack, although you're going to have the clock continue to run here now under 5 minutes, but you've just given away 15 yards.
Fan can't believe it. The 3rd and long draw call might be the least favorite play call in football as a fan sitting in the stands. You're doing it to protect your quarterback and not put the ball in harm's way, but you're right. 3 back-to-back plays. When they had momentum, they were driving the ball. They had success.
Yep.
Totally stalled.
Had a couple of 1st downs on the drive, and now a punt. And a fair catch signaled for and handled at the 17-yard line. All right, game on the line when we come back. 4:23 to go. Does Northern Illinois have another shocker in them?
NC State on top of Northern Illinois as we get. Let's take a look at today's game summary presented by Pacific Life. Great financial security for over 150 years. Story of this game has been the defensive turnovers caused by NC State. That's why they're up a touchdown. The scoop and score by Kaufman, and his buddies got involved as well. Both these offenses haven't been extremely explosive today. The turnovers have decided it.
1st down, play action, and looking for the home run ball, and it is intercepted all the way back at the 30-yard line by Devon Marshall. So they try to hit the home run, and it's picked off on the very first play. Clock stops, 4:12 to go.
Ethan Hampton tried to put it away right away. First play of the drive. You know you're going to get a one-on-one shot on the outside. It's a post route. We saw it earlier on in the second half. Miss into the outside shoulder on a post route. Miss towards the inside of the field with the defender on the back hip of your receiver. Credit this NC State secondary, Devon Marshall. Again, we've talked about turnovers. We'll add it to the column. This time an interception for this NC State secondary.
Yep. And all 3 turnovers by the quarterback. 2 fumbles on the strip sacks. One recovered for a touchdown, another recovered inside the 2 for eventually a touchdown, and now the interception.
Great job by
NC
Marshall.
State get it done on offense.
It's a great job by Marshall tracking that football, too. He was basically the receiver on that play.
Handed off on first down to Raphael. He bounces off of 1 tackle, but picks up 1.5 yards, maybe 2. Again, both teams with 3 timeouts remaining at this point. The only team that's interested in using a timeout will be Northern Illinois, and I think, no, it's an injured player on the field. I beg your pardon.
This is also where the 2-minute timeout, new rule this year in college football, becomes a factor where not only does Northern Illinois have 3 timeouts, but from a psychological standpoint, they have 4 with that 2-minute timeout. Yeah, his helmet came off, which was scary. He went right to his forehead. I didn't see the hit in real time, but not a fun sight.
Furman, in his first year at NIU, transferred from Garden City Community College and then went from there to Southeast Missouri State. And he's been their leading tackler and played very, very well as Christian Furman. You know, one team trying to go to 5-0 for the first time in, what, 40 or 50 years, Indiana today.
Your Sun squad, that's fun. It's fun seeing the coach's letter to his student body saying, this hasn't happened in a minute, show up.
And Kurt Cignetti, I mean, he's got it going on. He left James Madison. He's come to Indiana. They blew UCLA out of the gym at the Rose Bowl a couple of weeks ago. Their quarterback today, Curtis Rourke, former MAC Player of the Year in the same league with...
Please set the game clock to 4:05 and the play clock to 40 seconds. It'll start, the game clock will start on my signal.
But O'Rourke threw interceptions his first 2 passes today. He has since thrown for 4 touchdowns and 420 yards.
At a place like Indiana in years past, it'd be hard to build up that roster. But when you have the portal and you can take the JMU guys with you, go get yourself a quarterback from the MAC. It's easy for a new coach, or easier for a new coach, to come in there and do something in year 1 relative to where things were at a decade ago.
Ole Miss still clinging to a 4-point lead over Kentucky. Here it's a 7-point game with 3:35 to go. A 2nd down and 8 from just beyond the 35-yard line. Raphael will get it one more time, and a good defensive stop made right there by Jelani Williams, redshirt junior out of Milwaukee. So here we go again, Max, another 3rd down. They don't need to snap the ball till right around 2:40 to play. I mean, you're going to get conservative here and just run it again? That's what they did the last time they had the ball on 3rd down and long.
I think we'll find out a lot right here of the true trust level they have in their true freshman quarterback. I think you got to play real football. You got to call a pass play to pick up this 3rd down. Trust your young quarterback, like he's shown you early on in the drive, to check it down if needed.
Yeah, he's going to run it, and he will be denied 1st down yardage. Tell you, Northern Illinois extremely lucky that they had players, defenders hustling off the field. So he's short of a 1st down. It brings up 4th down, and Northern Illinois will spend a timeout, stopping the clock with 2:34. 2:37 will be put onto the game clock. Let's send it back to the studio and Mike.
30 seconds, timeout.
All right, time for a CW studio update. We'll check back in on this Western Kentucky-Boston College game. Grayson James got the touchdown. Hilltoppers, by the way, they've been leading this entire game. BC takes their first lead, now 21-20 in this 4th quarter.
How about that? Without Castellanos today, and BC trying to get another win. Hope we get a chance to see them play down the road. Bill O'Brien been around a long time. He got that job very late during this offseason. You may remember he had been hired as the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. He had actually moved to Columbus, was living there for about a month, and then BC called him, and naturally he's going to take the head coaching job in his hometown.
We said it last week. That 3rd tier of the ACC, if you're saying Miami's tier 1, I think Clemson's maybe that tier 2. The teams in the third tier, it's a lot of them in the ACC. They're going to beat each other. It'll be fun to track this season.
Fair catch of the 10, so 90 yards away from a chance to tie the game. 2 timeouts remaining, along with a 2-minute timeout. So in essence, they have 3.
You're getting into the clock management strategy, too. I thought it was interesting that Thomas Hammock took a timeout there. My read on that is now you can potentially get 2 plays, if not a third in, before that 2-minute timeout and potentially gain a possession on the back end if you do not pick it up right here. A little bit of the gamesmanship, so to speak, of how coaches maneuver around that 2-minute timeout.
It's amazing the work and the study that went into that for these college coaches. All right, here we go. First down from the 10-yard line. NC State in front of Northern Illinois by 7. Hampton rolls. He had a wide open receiver at the 25-yard line and overthrew him by 10 feet.
And it looks like he caught this ball but was out of bounds.
Oh, it's a guy behind him. I beg your pardon.
And oh, baby, Ethan Hampton's going to want this one back. If he puts that on his chest, that safety made a poor play on the ball. He broke on the tight end on the flood route. There is nobody. If he stands on his feet, there is nobody down the field if he can run and catch after that ball. NC State again with a fortunate break that went their way.
All right, so second down and 10. Reception made by Gavin Williams. It brings up third down. He picked up 3, so a 3rd and 7. Clock running, and they're trying to get off a play, or will they try to get off a play? A third down, a huge third down.
This is what I was talking about with why you took a timeout last drive.
Ball deflected and into the hands of Williams, and that is a first down. Can you believe that? Up to the 25-yard line. And that'll take us to the 2-minute timeout, 1:55 to be precise. Well, this is living right here. Ball tipped, and Williams stays with it.
Let's take a look at today's player of the game, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, and motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. And it's DK Kaufman. Set the tone for this game in the first half with that sack, scoop and score. Put the momentum on NC State's side. Had a shot at interception early on in this game. We knew he was a key player coming in. He's got to come up with a key play here to get his defense off the field.
First down throw and catch up to the 39-yard line. Clock continues to go. Northern Illinois has 2 timeouts remaining, trailing by 7. They spotted at the 38-yard line. Good protection again, in and out of the hands. May have been broken up there. That's a good defensive play by Cisse. Clock stops, 1:37 to go.
He's just right in his hip pocket the whole way. That's a cornerback on a tight end body, too. That's great coverage. That's been a theme today on those crosser routes. They're giving nothing to NIU easy.
You know, we talked to Tony Gibson, the NC State defensive coordinator, yesterday, and we talked about the whole team together, the whole defensive side of the ball, watching the game film against Clemson, an ugly game a week ago today. And Coach Gibson says, look, one guy we need to step up and deliver the goods in this game is DK Kaufman. He originally started at Vanderbilt, transferred to Auburn, now at NC State, and he has delivered that kind of game so far.
And it was fun. We went to practice yesterday. I happened to be standing by him when the youngsters were getting their reps at the end of practice. And he's a unique body type, 5'10", 215. I wasn't sure if he was a linebacker. If you told me he was a corner, I would have believed it. Yep. Obviously a safety, but you can see how they use him in different ways. Line him up at corner early on in the game on that corner blitz. No problem rolling him into the box. Transferred from Auburn by way of Vanderbilt. 3 stops along the way. It's not totally out of the norm in today's college football, but man, they're glad they have him.
All right. After the incompletion, it brings up 2nd down and 10. Blitz coming. And it was fumbled away. An offensive lineman picked it up. That's the center, Schernitz, Logan Schernitz. And he's able to bring it to the 35. It could have been a lot worse than that. Well, Horton's had a hard time holding on to the ball today. You can understand why when you see that.
And I want to see if this is a fumble or a true pass, because if it's a pass, then the offensive lineman can't advance the ball. This is always the technicality of whether his arm was going forward and did he have complete control of the ball as his arm was going back into the slot. That's a funky play there. Saw that last week in the NFL slate. Dak Prescott threw a pass to his offensive lineman in the end zone, and it prevented they called him for holding, prevented a safety. It's kind of a loophole. Throw it to your offensive lineman out of the back of the end zone. Caught the NFL world on storm a little bit, but a big 3rd down here in this one.
All right, you got clearly 4 down territory. You're trailing by 7. 3rd down and 12. Horton looking around. He fakes a throw, keeps it himself, and brings it all the way up to the 47-yard line. I think he's about a yard short of a 1st down. So this will be 4th down. And so, I know they're in hurry-up mode. I get it. But it is 4th down. This is a game, in essence, if you can't convert right here.
And they're having to hurry up without their best player on the field. No Antario Brown. They're sticking with Gavin Williams in the backfield.
And now a timeout is called by NC State.
And that gives NIU the opportunity to put their best player back on the field.
NC State.
I get why you had to take a timeout, but to me that opens up a whole other area of the offensive playbook you can get to, especially as a team that prides themselves on different personnel groups, unique shifts and motions. That's, I'm sure, why NC State called the timeout to discuss it, but there's a lot NIU can get to.
They've not lost a single time here on the CW Sports Network. NC State 4-0, including that big win against Clemson last year. We'll be here again next weekend when Wake Forest comes to town. But this is the ball game right here. 4th down. There's been a lot of disagreements in this game amongst the officials on where they're spotting balls. We brought up earlier one instant where you had a guy at the 49, another guy at the 46, another guy at the 47. We just saw the same thing happen again. This is actually moved back just outside the 46. So this is, if it's a yard, it's a long yard and a half.
And the pass and then the fullback dive. Can't do that with only a minute left.
McElroy in motion. Here comes the blitz. What a catch by McElroy. Man, he has hauled in some big plays today. And that was a perfect throw delivered by Hampton. 1st down. Clock runs right at midfield. 55 ticks remain.
It's not necessarily going to show up on the stat sheet, but Thompson and McElroy, the receivers for NIU, have come up big today with contested catches.
1st down. 3-man rush. Horton going to fake the throw. And he lunges forward, needed to get to the 40 for a 1st down, didn't quite get there, and they're going to spend a timeout. Or they stop in the clock for an injured player. Yep, that's an official timeout. That's a 9-yard gain, and Davin Van, their outstanding graduate, is down on the field. There's actually 2 players down for NC State.
And I think Thomas Hammock's chatting with the official. I think he was going to call timeout, and then maybe he has said that, but then realized there was an injured player on the field. So was chatting with the officials to make sure that he can keep his timeout.
Let's go back to the 4th down conversion.
I like the call. Trusting your quarterback. Yep. Defender's right in the hip of your receiver. And then not insignificant, Ethan Hampton's legs in this drive. Putting his body on the line for his squad. It's what you got to do as a quarterback late in this game.
So we talked about Van. You also have Devon Marshall, transferred junior, came over after 2 years from Villanova. And both of them are up and headed towards the sideline without any help. It's good to see.
And we're getting word that Northern Illinois declined the 10-second runoff and kept their timeout with 31 seconds on the clock. Obviously not insignificant.
Seven-point game. 31 seconds remain. Ball at the 41-yard line. You've got trips to the right. Second down and a yard. And Northern Illinois with one timeout left. That's good defense right there by Tamarcus Cooley.
Yeah, trying to get their slot receiver on an out route. You got defenders sitting in their zones knowing what's going to happen. And it's interesting, no Ontario Brown on the field. I know he's your running back, and this is more of a pass-heavy attack right here, but you'd like to think that him in open space, even if it's a check down, making one guy miss.
Well, he's your second leading wide receiver. He had an 83-yard touchdown reception already this year against Notre Dame, and he's standing over there on the sideline. They run the ball, and here's Williams banging his way inside the 35. And that is a first down, so they're going to spot the ball, and they're going to have to start the clock. It's running under 20, down to 15.
Right now, you know you have to take a shot to the end zone.
Batted into the air and nearly intercepted. It should have been. And again, it was Cooley. He may have heard footsteps from his own teammate who nearly collided into him.
Trying to hit your man Grayson Barnes, that tight end receiver combo right behind the safeties, and there's just a lot of NC State defenders there. At this stage in the game, what I was going to say is you run that ball, you know ultimately you're going to have to take a shot at the end zone. But right now, get it to a point where it's not a true Hail Mary, and you can at least call some sort of schemed play into the red end zone.
You got a timeout left, 9 seconds remain. And
game.
Rather than spending a timeout, they just take the delay of game. Or was it NC State who called a timeout?
Correction. Prior to the play clock expiring, timeout, NC State.
Okay, there we go.
Second, 30 seconds.
Boy, this is a game that has just been statistically, if you don't look at the turnovers, and of course that might be the first thing you look at to figure out who won and lost the game, because that is the most telling statistic there is. Outside of the 3 huge turnovers by Northern Illinois, the Huskies have dominated this football game. But you basically gave away 2 touchdowns on 2 fumbles inside your own 10-yard line that led to 14 points.
Turnovers have been huge, and clock management late in this game has been big as well. NC State taking a timeout there. You do that because you just want to discuss things with your secondary. It's a byproduct of bringing in a bunch of transfers. You might not have the full confidence that they know exactly what they're doing. But now it's obviously a break for NIU to avoid a delay of game and be able to discuss things.
That is really strange. Ontario Brown standing over on that sideline. 3-man rush, and Horton in trouble. He throws in complete, clock stops, so it'll be a Hail Mary with 4 seconds left, or, you figure 35 yards is a Hail Mary, but they're going to have to put something to the end zone.
And the question right here, when you're in this area of the field, when you call Hail Mary, as an offensive coordinator, do you decide to bunch everyone up in the middle of the field and just play flyers up and hope to get lucky, or do you try to to create a one-on-one matchup on the outside. The Hail Mary that took over the college football world last week, Colorado, they chose to take a one-on-one matchup on the outside with their second receiver. Different strategies to how to call Hail Mary and get guys open. Same goes for the defense. Do you rush 3 guys, rush 4 guys, try to heat things up, or do you play coverage and give a quarterback opportunity to run around in the backfield?
Well, each side will talk it over as to how they want to play this. 4 seconds remain. NC State trying to win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one. They would go to 3-2 with a victory. Northern Illinois started out 2-0, stunning 5th-ranked Notre Dame and South Bend before statistically dominating a game against Buffalo, but turnovers killed them in that one, and they lost in overtime. Missed a couple of field goals. This should be a Northern Illinois team. It's undefeated and probably would be ranked somewhere around 17th or 18th in the country. Right now, they're 4 seconds away from losing for the second time in 4 games. All right, what would you do? You said there's all kinds of different ways you could do it. Johnson and McElroy have been your go-to guys all day long. But we know that Brown is dangerous, although not on the field here for this entire drive.
Yeah, and you got Grayson Barnes as well.
And now NC State want to see what kind of formation. I'm not sure they showed their hand there, Northern Illinois.
Yeah, Northern Illinois came out in a 2-by-2 formation, 2 receivers on each side. Sometimes in this scenario, you'll have 3 guys right next to each other to do exactly what we talked about earlier of bunching everyone up in one section of the end zone. But you look at NIU's receivers, you got McElroy at 6'3", Cam Thompson, who's made some contested catches at 6 foot, and then Grayson Barnes, their tight end receiver combo, 6'5", 225. That's the type of frame that's ideal to have in this scenario. Ball in the left hash. Oftentimes you like get your quarterback on the move to buy some time.
You've got 3 NC State defenders standing inside the 5-yard line. All 4 of them now will be inside the 10-yard line. And they throw it towards the goal line, and it is intercepted, and that's the way this one will come to an end. With the interception. And what a game here today. NC State hangs on. Final count of 24-17. And look, the NC State defense stepped up in this game after that disaster a week ago.
They did. Turnovers decided this ball game. You're chucking it up. Receivers trying to make a play, and it's Tamarcus Cooley that comes down to it. Look at the stats in this ball game. Not a whole lot different in terms of which offense made an impact, but the turnovers were key. And Tamarcus Cooley is still down on the sideline. Hopefully he's okay.
Well, our producer is Scott Snyder, our director Lonnie Dale, for Max Brown, Carla Gebhardt, our entire crew, Tom Brenneman. Thanks so much for watching. After this timeout, it's out to Kansas for NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing. The Wolfpack win it at home. Final count 24-17. We'll see you from here in Raleigh next Saturday.